And that's where I discovered my passion for dance. I don't know why, I just like fell in love with dancing at such a young age. I was 7 when I went to that program at that church. And then the people that were around me that helped kind of like mentor me and teach me as a dancer from a young age. I was pushed really hard, like as a little girl. So I think what inspired me to like take off career-wise was kind of like, I felt like I had like this chip on my shoulder, like I had to prove something to just certain individuals, and that motivation like kind of worked for me. I had to relocate at like 16. I had to move from here to Florida, and I was like, you know, all the intense emotions from certain like traumas, like I just used that to really like build with my dance career. And then the way that that's changed is like I've healed. That was a question, right? Like kind of like how is it? Okay. As I started to heal, because I was like, I want a good relationship with these people. I was like, you know what? Like this is something I love to do. This is not just something that I'm doing to like prove something. But I'm like, this is what I don't want the certain things to affect my passion, like my relationship with my passion. So it's like a constant journey. But so far, that's like kind of how my motivation has evolved. And yeah, sorry, it's really hard for me to express that, but I hope someone can take something from it. And I'm really excited to hear like how these other artists are, just y'all's motivation as well.
So my original inspiration was my mom. So my mom has a long legacy of health professionals on her side, but she was a rebel. So when no one was watching her, she would sneak off to talent competitions and enter as a dancer. And she would just collect her trophies and hide it under her bed, right? That was her whole childhood because she wasn't allowed to participate, so she would wait till nap time. She would like sneak out. So her hearing stories about that, about my mom from a young age, and then her also as a Filipino immigrant moving here, it was important for her for her children to learn Filipino cultural dancing. So I learned everything I know about crew mentality and community building through dancing with my cousins and learning all of the traditional cultural folk dance from my parents' region as well as throughout the Philippines and the different regions. So that combined with growing up around OGs in my neighborhoods of Long Beach, Cerritos, and Carson, that was my hip hop inspiration, is learning it in the streets, in the neighborhoods, at the schools, at the dances, at the parties. The fusion of those influences formed my identity, my initial identity as a dancer. And I've kind of really leaned into the fact that dance is always going to be a part of my life, but my relationship to dance is always evolving as I evolve as a human, if that makes sense. So when I was a child, I was a sponge. I wanted to learn top rocks. I wanted to learn popping techniques, locking, all the hip hop social dances. Just absorb, right? Then by the time I got to college, I realized what I saw at the parties, which were like trailblazing DJs, MCs, B-boys, B-girls, poppers, lockers, social hip-hop dancers, was not on TV. Like I grew up my entire childhood till I was in college not seeing a single Filipino on TV. Maybe we had a mix, like Mia Peoples on Fame, or I saw, if I expand my scope to Asian American, Native Hawaiian, Pacific Islander, okay, we had Carrie Ann and Nava and the Fly Girls, you know what I mean? But other than that, it didn't match what I saw, which is why in college, my relationship to dance was building. I was like, okay, we don't have spaces where we can dance, all right, we're gonna create vibe. We're gonna create body rock. Body rock, vibe, prelude, fusion, those are all created by Phil-Am dancers. Because we wanted to create spaces where we were invited to, where we weren't centered and celebrated. And now that's become the norm. I feel like SoCal has so many, or California in general has so many events, but I'm really proud that my relationship to dance in that era was one of rebellion and community building. Then, like similar to Logan's, like I had every year, it's like it took me into my 30s. I didn't get beginning my healing journey and my journey towards liberation as a proud gay Filipino man until I was in college. So dance then became about storytelling and raising money for causes about social justice. The whole mentality and the whole idea of kapwa became embodied in the spirit and informed what I did with dance. And then now in my 40s, now into my 50s, I'm back to being a student because I think at this age, I realized the importance of balancing self-care with community care, that I can't serve the community, I can't continue to build or advocate unless I fill my own cup too. So I need to nourish not only who I am now, but my inner child as well, so that I can show up more brilliantly for the causes of the world, since now there's just so much, we're needed so much more now. So dance has always been a part of my life, but again, it will change. It's changed now, and I think it will change in the next season of my life. But I think if we lean into that, then we show up more powerfully, authentically for who we can be and who we're supposed to be.
Hi everyone, my name is D-Trix, and I'm super excited to be here, by the way. To answer your question about what inspired me, well, I knew at a very young age that this was something that I wanted to do, and it was when I stepped foot on stage. When I was 7 years old, it was my first singing competition ever, and I don't know how it happened, but miraculously I won 3rd place. And everyone was just so shocked by it, and I was so shocked by it by myself too. And I just thought in that moment, like, damn, can we do this like for a long term? Is this something that we're gonna choose to do for ourselves? And I knew at that moment, like, I believed in myself so much when I was young, but as the years went by, I kind of became distant from that. It was like the societal pressures and expectations, and it made me really insecure in believing in myself. But recently, I've been on this really beautiful journey with just prioritizing and nurturing my inner child. So it's been a lot of reconnecting with my younger self, and she always was that girl. She knew, she had strong intuition, and yeah, so she believed in me more than my adult self ever could. So I thank her so much for, holding it down, and the fact that I was able to reconnect with that and figure that out for myself, that definitely has been inspiring me to continue on with this journey, for sure.
Hello everybody, my name is Roanne. I actually kind of have the opposite experience as Catrice. When I was 7, my mom voluntold me to start singing in the church. And that started from, obviously, Filipino household, there's karaoke playing all day, every day, while you clean, while your grandma's there, while your mom is cooking, it's just karaoke. So my mom called me into the living room one day and she's like, hey, sing this song. And I was like, all right. I don't think I've ever sung in front of my mom for real like that. And so when I sang, she's like, oh, she can sing. This is my daughter, really. And after that, it was like, great, guess what? You're in the church choir. And then after that, it was like, you have a dentist appointment, and then after you get shots in your mouth, go sing them a song really quick. It was just wild. Filipino mothers have the greatest love. So through that, I definitely had an estranged relationship with my connection to music and art. But I think that stemmed mostly because I was stubborn and I was a rebel also. And I was just like, oh, my whole family's into arts. No, I'm not gonna be an artist. But literally, I was not good at anything else. So growing up, once I started to perform on my own accord and write songs that I felt like were true to me and not have to be under the direction of my mother or anything like that, that's when I started to realize, oh wait, there's actually more of a connection here for me. And it's not just about what somebody's telling me to do, but I get to create my own experience through all of this. And growing up with a lot of identity issues too, trying to figure out my sexuality, understanding that I'm a lesbian in the Filipino community. Lord, how am I going to survive in this household? It was like, music was the thing that I could run to and express myself through that. And just like everybody up here, as I go through my life changes with my music journey and just being an artist changes with me as well. One of the things that I'm learning to sit through right now is that when I need to take a step back, do it, and don't beat yourself up. And I think that in our culture, we were just talking about this earlier, is that we're so rooted in resilience, but sometimes there's not a healthy balance of how much resilience you want to give yourself, right? Like when you need to take a break, you have to take that break. And I really, through my storytelling, through acting, through music, I do want to eventually share with our generation and next to come, is that even though we are Filipino, we do not have to meet success with struggle all the time. And I think that that's such an important topic, but we're going to touch on that a little bit more later.
Hi everyone, my name is Heaven. Thank you so much for being here. First of all, this is amazing. I honestly have no idea what inspired me because I'm a little bit different in a sense where I didn't really start actually pursuing my creative career until I was maybe in my early 20s, 18, 17. Growing up, I was did so many creative things. Like I loved painting or doing so many arts, but I feel like as a Filipino, you're like, no, that's just a hobby. Like that's just for fun. That's not something that I can have a career in or make money from. Fast forward, I started doing YouTube at a very young age, and I'm talking 7, really young. I had no business doing all that stuff with my little dolls. Fun fact. And then as I grew up, I realized, oh my God, I really love this. It keeps coming back and back and back and back. And I was like, this is something that I obviously enjoy doing because like clockwork, it just always kept coming back. So every time I tried to push it away, it would always come back. So finally I realized, I was like, well, this is my thing. This is the thing that I love to do and what I'm talented in. And it just kind of kept going from there. But how that has inspired and changed everything has been so big in my life since then, because now I'm actually a full-time social media person. That's my full-time job. I'm going to school, all that kind of stuff. So one day it kind of just clicked, and I've just been continuing to follow that path, whatever it leads me, and I mean it led me here today. So thank you.
Wow. That was awesome to hear. I think, I don't know about y'all, but from every one of those stories, I felt like there was some commonality there, whether it be having our art or creativity come as an outlet to express ourselves, having our parents perform for family at a young age or a community at a young age. I wasn't tricked by my dad to get into dance, but that seems to be a very unique experience too, you know what I mean? But overall, everyone has such an amazing journey, and I can't reiterate this enough. It's so nice to hear. It's so nice and refreshing to hear as a creative myself. Roanne, your work blends music and storytelling with such emotional honesty. So we'll start off this question with you. Being familiar with, fun fact, me and Lauren kind of go way back.
I took him to homecoming way back.
Yo! See, I was going to mention that, but I'm so glad you brought that up first.
Took him to homecoming. not I don't know. Yeah. Obviously, I told you guys, this whole journey with me figuring out my sexuality was what? And Juju and I danced together, so it was dude, I need to bring a boy to homecoming. Come with me. It was beautiful.
I was like,
yeah, beautiful experience.
Yeah. Shout out to IDK. Anyways, moving on. What's a moment or project that you're most proud of currently, and why?
I want to say that the project that I'm proud of the most is, thank you.
The project that I am proud of the most is the release of my song Heaven on Earth. It's actually my biggest release right now. There are so many reasons why I am proud of that project. The first one being that it's my biggest song, and the inspiration behind that is my grandmother, who has passed on already. My grandma was the greatest love that I've ever known. If you know what Lola's love, that's just it's different, you know? And so I I was really fighting with my management team at the time because they were fighting me on if I really wanted to release this song. But truthfully, the moment I started writing this song, I remember being in the studio with my producers, and I was in a funk. I was like, I mean, my grandmother had just passed like a month prior, and then I was going through a breakup from a very long relationship that I was in. So I went in the studio, and they're like, what do you want to work on? And I was like, I don't want to work on anything, but I need to feel something. So please just like play something on the keys, and then let's just vibe. And as soon as my producer played a chord, the words that came out of my mouth, like every time I'm away from you, and then I stopped and I was like, oh, spiritually, we got something here. I feel this in my bones. So we wrote that song, and I really just had my grandmother in the back of my mind, right? If I wanted to release something that expressed the kind of love that I've ever felt for my grandma, what would I say? How would I convey it? Heaven on Earth came from that, and I remember my manager at the time asking me, like, are you sure you want to release this? Because, you know, your last release 2 years ago, he didn't have to call me out like that, but your last release 2 years ago was also a slow R&B song. And I was like, yes, I do want to release this because it's more than just what it's going to do strategically in the numbers. I don't really care. This is just something that's like, it means a lot in my heart. I can't even explain it. I told him I don't care if 2 or 200 people listen to this song. It's going to reach who it needs to. Fast forward to, I don't know, like 2.5 years later, we're at more than like 5 million streams worldwide on that song. And that was just based off of me betting on myself. So I think that will always be my most proud moment. And the music video, like I orchestrated it to where people know that it's a dedication of my grandmother, and we also honor other people's loved ones who passed on. So if you watch the music video, in the beginning you hear my grandma's voice. Like I just played a video in the beginning of her and my mom laughing and whatever, and then it plays into the song. So yeah, that's the project that's like most near and dear to my heart, and I think that will always be my most proud and favorite project.
So we'll go ahead and open it up to other members of the panel. Before we do though, I just want to say I do remember hearing that song, and I was just like, that's crazy. That was the one that Timbaland saw too, right?
Yeah.
Yeah, I reacted to it. Amazing. But yeah, it was really powerful stuff. But yeah, moving on, opening up to the rest of the panel. What are some works that you guys are personally proud of, and why?
I'll answer that. I released my music video. 20 minutes? Okay. I released my music video last year for my music video, Bleach Brows, and it was just such an empowering thing to do for myself, just because it was my first baby that I was releasing out to the world, and a lot of my ideas I kind of suppressed because I just didn't know if it would resonate with people. So being able to work with my friend, I don't know if he's here, but he's going to be in the second panel, Jonathan. It was a very full circle moment. Yes, it was a very full circle moment for us because we had went to middle school and high school together, and he gave me full creative direction, which I don't know if usually directors or producers do that, but I was so grateful to have that opportunity to just allow for the essence of my core to really shine through this music video. And I just wanted to let you know that despite how much you may doubt your ideas, please put them out, because the right people will gravitate towards it. And it was honestly one of the most fulfilling and relieving moments for me, definitely.
So I went to the Olympics last year for breaking.
Yeah, you did.
I represented Team USA, but originally I was trying to represent for the Philippines. And that was a journey. And I'm proud of myself and my manager for getting through those hurdles. If anything, I'm more proud of that part of the mission than doing Team USA, because I've been able to form so many great connections out there within the dance community. It was a struggle because they obviously were born there, so there's so many conflicting perspectives and a lot of, I would say, assumptions and judgments. But I don't know, I just feel so proud of that because that bridge the gap.
Hey!
I just feel, yeah, it was an obstacle that I feel was worth it. It left some scars, like emotionally, but I think like that was something, I don't know, that just popped up when you were asking the question, so.
I just want to say to affirm Logan that it's something so powerful for a film, Unite to take space like so courageously, but also as a beautifully kind person. And I think it's a lot of talented people that are examples, but a talented person who is a good person is the best kind of role model that we have for our people. So I just want to say you're proud of that.
And it's not a big feat I wouldn't downplay being the first Olympic, you were pretty much a medalist in, the very first breaking event in the world at the Olympics, as much as, I'm sure there was some controversies and I know people within the breaking community felt the type of way about how it was run, but at the end of the day, you did that.
Yeah, she did. Yeah, you did.
Okay, so we just got the 30-minute mark here, so we're gonna have to pick up the pace. I apologize. These are just such great questions that the BTG staff has prepared for us. So we're gonna power on through. Arnold, you have the next question.
I got you. Just real quick, I want to point out. We have a panelist of trailblazers, and when you think about being a trailblazer, you think about what you see when you see the posts of congratulating them. But sometimes what you don't hear, and what we get the honor and privilege to hear today is the how, right? We see the what, we see the where they went, but it's the how that always is kind of the question mark, right? So we get this opportunity to connect with them and see the how. As being trailblazers, the first to do something, I think an important piece to try to listen into is the how. What did they do and how did they do it, and then the why. Because the why is going to stand out always when you listen to someone's story. It's not what they did really, but it's why they did it and then how they did it, right? So I think playing off of that, thinking about trailblazers and community, I think one thing I've heard is everyone had either they saw an opportunity for a lack of community to build, or they had that person that was their community. When you think about how when you're doing the work, the claps are silent. It's only one person or two people. But today they're going to get claps from the whole room, right? So we want to know about the how, what did they do, and why did they do it? And I think this next question, we can start with Heaven. You build community from the ground up with 5 to 9 creatives. And while being very important, building a community is very ambitious. And I'm sure a lot was going on behind the scenes to make it happen. If there was one resource or a piece of advice you wish you had when you first started, what would it be?
Again, thank you so much. If you guys don't know, I run creative networking events, and that kind of stemmed from me and my husband used to go to networking events, and they were just kind of everyone would just kind of be on the wall, to talk to us. We really felt like, why am I here at this networking event and no one wants to talk to me? It was weird. So I realized that, well, first of all, we would go all the way up to LA to go to these events. And I was like, well, why am I taking all of my talent and my time and my money and bringing it over there when there's so many creative people down here in San Diego? And with that, I was like, I guess I'll just make my own then. And at the time, I was trying to figure out what I wanted to do with life, job, all that kind of stuff. And I, at that point, wasn't getting the job that I wanted. I applied to so many jobs, and the job market's really hard right now. So I was like, I'm gonna make it myself then. So I literally from the ground up, I made the email address, the Instagram page. I met this social media, I made all the flyers, I pulled together all of our friends to help out. We wore like t-shirts at the event, so if you didn't know anyone at the event, you can come up to one of our friends who loves to talk a lot and talk to them if you really wanted to. I made it very intentional, and it worked out really well. At our first event, we completely sold out. I was not prepared for that. Mind you, I rented this tiny little studio, and like an hour in, they were like, "You're at capacity," and I was like, "Oh my god." So behind the scenes, it's a lot of work, and people, like you said, like don't realize what it takes to even get to that day where everything is like lined up well enough for people to show up, like today. And I think the biggest thing that I wish I had as a resource would just be just like more words of encouragement. I feel like just more community in the process, and not when, okay, everything's sold out and now people want to join and be part of something. And it's like, no, like I needed you guys in the process. So my biggest thing that I always advocate for is like my friends, and like whatever they want to do, I'm like, do it, I'm here, whatever you want, call me, text me, FaceTime, you can hop on a Zoom, whatever you want to do, like I will be here through the process, because that's just the type of person I am. I love supporting people and advocating, especially people want to pursue like creative roles, and that's kind of like what I do in our event spaces as well.
Wow. I know alluded to this when you first started speaking, but that feeling of Kappa, right? Community. Yeah, it's so important. But yeah, opening up the rest of that conversation, or that question to the rest of the panel. Does anyone want to add on to that? Moving on! Sick. Let's keep going then. Now, this next question is for anyone who feels called to answer. Sometimes there's a shift in trajectory of your career. Was there a defining change you made in your career that resulted in the most success for you? Maybe it was your mindset, process, or actions, but what was that one thing that changed it all for you at that time? Right?
Get a job outside of what your passion is. We were just talking about this in the room, but aside from being a singer, songwriter, actor, I actually am a nurse. I get it, we're Filipino, okay? Listen, before I tell you though, no, my mom did not force me into nursing school. She actually was like, for what? When I told her I was going, because my whole family is in entertainment. I was 17, and again, growing up in the Filipino culture, I was under the impression like, I need to have my life figured out. I'm graduating next week, and I need to figure out how I'm gonna retire. So, absurd, by the way, for you guys. Don't feel like you have to have it all figured out now. But what I will say is, the biggest thing that helped me be the successful creative and artist that I am now is my job. Working, there is nothing wrong or embarrassing with doing what you gotta do to fund yourself. And I think the best way that you can show that you support yourself and that you wanna grow in what you wanna do and you believe in yourself is that you do anything by all means necessary for you to get there. And for me, that was, I was really young when I became a nurse. I was not even 20 yet, and so there was a lot of, that also played into my identity issues, but at the end of the day, at that young age, I was able to fund everything, move myself out of San Diego into LA because of my career as a nurse. So, look, you gotta do what you gotta do, and that sacrifice is gonna reap the biggest reward for you later, and there's nothing wrong. It's all part of your journey, and it's a very beautiful part of your journey too. Go nurses.
I wanted to answer this question because I actually have a funny answer to it. So I was just so sick and tired of how I was victimizing myself in my life because I felt like things were just not really moving. And so I confided in my boyfriend a lot, and I had literally asked him, I was like, can you just please read me to filth right now, because I'm so tired of the stagnation. Like, he didn't bully me at all or anything, but he was just super blunt and transparent about it, and I was like, just give it to me, just give it to me. And he literally told me that maybe I just didn't know what it felt to be tired or to work tirelessly towards your passion. And honestly, that was such a reality check for me because I think now being an adult, I mean, I'm never all tired and stuff, and we get really exhausted, but I think being tired is also a privilege to have when it comes to having a creative path or a creative career, because at the end of the day, when you feel tired, you know you did everything with your blood, sweat, and tears to know that you're just that closer to your dreams and goals. And so that was definitely a catalyst for me to push my career and to really lock in, be a lock-in era baby. And so that definitely was, really helpful for me. And so I don't know if this is gonna work for everyone, but maybe you just need like a loved one to be so like blunt, honest, and transparent with you. And if they really love you, then just know that they have good intentions.
So when I went to UCI, I was a bio major with every intention of taking the MCAT to becoming, a doctor. I'm a doctor in my own field that I love. What ended up happening is after I graduated from college, I took a gap year. So I took gap years. I took a couple of years off to just explore and try a bunch of different new things. And I think my success in my career changed when I embraced the fact that my identity is not one-dimensional. So people try to label us. It's a very American ideal to label you by your career title. But how about if your path is a blend of many identities? Because we're multi-dimensional human beings, right? And so when I leaned into the fact that, yes, I want to be a doctor of occupational therapy because I love the part of me that likes working with kids and likes being a health professional, I couldn't be successful in that if I still didn't embrace the fact that I'm a hip hop dance educator who loves to fucking dance, right? And they feed each other. So my career as a dance educator fuels my creativity as a health professional. The compassion and the lessons I learned from the kids I serve make me a more compassionate dance educator. I think people in the dance community know that I'm all heart, you know what I mean, that I love people. So I think when I leaned into the fact that, no, I'm not going to be labeled as one career path. My career path is multiple things, and that my identity is an intersection of many beautiful things. That allowed me to really make my impact more powerful, and also my commitment to myself more authentic and more rewarding.
I'm kind of hearing a theme here, and the next question was supposed to be around how did your family react when you told them you're pursuing a career in the arts and not a doctor, engineer, or nurse. But something that I'm hearing too is kind of like the ongoing support of folks in your community. So if anyone of the panelists take on this question of how has the ongoing support been in terms of how it's impacted your success in your career, and if there was an absence of it, how did that also influence your success in your career? Just a quick one from me is, even when I wanted to make a really cute video when you see your admission letter from college, I had my grandparents come in, I was like, come in. And I told them I got there, they said, where is that and how much is it going to cost us? And then that was the moment for me that I knew it didn't matter where I went, but it mattered what I brought back. So I wanted to share that story, and maybe that can kind of guide the question and how folks want to answer it.
Wow.
So thankfully, I was blessed with a very supportive family. Like I said, I competed at a very young age, at age seven, and I remember there was this one moment where I had joined the Del Mar Fair 3 years in a row. I had won third and then second and then first. But that time where I won first place, I was actually catching a cold. So, Filipino families be so big, they be coming in packs. So I was so thankful that they came and they took up a whole section of the bleachers. And I just felt so much more motivated to really just put on my best because I knew I had that support system. So yeah, thankfully I always had that. And okay, the question does rise for my mom now that I'm 26. Like, okay, Anak, are you gonna help me with real estate? Because I'm a little concerned about you, but I'm very much in my lock-in era, and I'm not opposed to doing real estate at all either. But yeah, like you said, with having another job, maybe it would be very useful and valuable for you. So yeah, my family was always very supportive, thankfully.
My mom is actually here today. She's right here in yellow. She's always been there for me for everything, always supports me. I think the biggest turning point for me was for a long time, no one knew what I was doing. Everyone was just like, yeah, she just like makes videos, she posts them, like whatever, like cool. People knew that now. Now it's more normalized. When I was doing it, it was weird and no one talked about it. But now I think the big turning point was when people started noticing the impact that I was doing because I was posting this video. And that's kind of when it started to shift for the rest of my family. And I was hosting events and creating these communities and meeting all these really cool people. That's when it finally clicked for them. So my mom has always been supportive, but the rest of the family was kind of like, oh, what is she doing? And then one day I'm like, I'm doing this thing. They're like, how did you even get there? And sometimes it just takes that one turning point to really like lock it in with everyone and say like, this is what I want to do, this is what I love, and I'm going to keep doing it. So.
So my dad was my biggest supporter growing up. He pushed me really hard. He was my coach and manager and dad all at once, and he became a single dad doing that as well. So he was a huge factor in like my early success and also like my mindset and work ethic. There was a lot that happened in my family, which is why I had to move to Florida. But I would say like that support from him like helped give me the foundation to like what I want to do with myself, my life, my mindset, and mentality with what I have. So I would say even the absence of that also like I feel like realizing that was no longer present, as well as like not having my mom when I was younger. My mom wasn't in my life, so both of those things kind of like contributed to like how I move and like how I kind of built this foundation for myself that I got so used to. That kind of feels like unique in a sense because it is. I do feel like an artist, but I also feel like an athlete. So I feel like so many different intersectionalities with like my lifestyle and mentality. So I would say those, like the parent situation like that played a huge role in like who I am today and why I'm always like moving, always on the go. I was able to embrace more of like my femininity when I moved in with my mom when I was 16. And that kind of balanced it out. And then so I've been blessed to travel since I was 15. Yeah. They don't seem to be going through so much. So as I'm traveling, I try to just like connect with people in the dance communities like globally. And when I here, I do have to shout out Underground Flow. They are another group of dope ass Asians that rep from Sacramento, but like they really helped me. Like I call them my tribe. They was literally like family outside of family. And then when I moved to Florida, I also got to connect with a group of young folks over there that like during COVID, we would just train all day and all night. Just like when everyone was in quarantine, we would just lock ourselves up in the studio and just train, or go to the beach and train, and go to Muscle Beach, Miami and work out, and just like be on that grind together. And that's important. Like I didn't realize the importance of like community support until like honestly recently, because there was a lot of just conflict that I wasn't used to. So I think things change for sure. I do center myself around God, and I do pray a lot for just to have that support, because I feel I'm realizing more and more that like human connection is just so important. That's why this is like, even just this right here, like for me, it's like I feel so much gratitude. I get to kind of see other people's journeys and not feel as alone. But yeah, so I don't want to talk too much into it.
Go.
Yeah, that's it.
Something I haven't actually ever shared before. So I definitely have had a supportive family, and I have an amazing network of chosen family like Cheyenne, Legion, and Rachel here. Super blessed with like the best humans, and of course like Logan, people around me that I grew up with. But I think what people don't understand is also on the back end. So the more honest I was about my identity as a gay Filipino American, since that time I've had to navigate death threats, slander, in my comment boxes for my thing. So with more visibility and authenticity comes also the risk of hate. And I think death threats were specifically to my address and to people I love was really, really hard to navigate at a certain point. But that's why no matter how old you are, you know what I mean, you will always have hurdles to navigate and times where you re-examine who you are at the core of who you are. I think it just, for me, threw me off guard because I've been a person of love, I feel like. So to have something the opposite of that kind of, it just really threw me off for a bit. But I eventually landed, with the help of therapy and the help of, I believe in like spirituality, God and the universe, and my loved ones. I figured out, I've landed with, you'll get extremes of joy and praise as well as hate and, life-threatening things. But you have to trust your own inner knowing, balanced with people who actually know you as a human being, at the forefront, at the top. And everything else you take with a grain of salt, but the more power I gave to those death threats and to those slanders, the more I was stepping away from who I really am. And so at a certain point, I had to let all of that go and just, again, trust my inner knowing and trust the people who know me. So I've never shared that publicly, but I want to put that out there for creatives that there is a risk you take with being more visible, but that risk is fucking worth it if you think about the positive impact in the lives that you can impact, because by taking space and being authentic with who you are, maybe that's gonna give a chance for someone to also show up as who they are.
That's crazy. Arnell, as someone who's grown up in dance community, the SoCal dance community, as a Filipino man, you've kind of been like a beacon of light in my own personal journey. So it hurts to hear that people feel that way or are willing to put that out there in the universe. But just know that you know this, you're loved. You know what I mean? But yeah, and although I am straight, one thing that I do resonate fully is being, and I think everyone here does this really well, is being their authentic selves, which is something that has been a challenge. I feel like we've all gone through that one way, shape, or form. But when you come to that realization that, okay, this is who I am, this is what I want to be, whatever message that may be, there is some form of liberation to that, and empowerment to that. So, great job, panelists. We're done with all the premeditated questions. Yes. So we're going to go ahead and wrap it up with a Q&A session to the rest of the audience. How do you want to do this? You just raise a hand and then pass the mic?
You keep this here, I'll pass it.
Sick.
I get my steps in.
Come on, nice. I really give a shout out to Arnie real quick. Right now, we have some questions asked. So, opening up the floor. Yes.
This question's for Catrice. I'm like such a big fan. I know you mentioned your latest project, Bleach Brows, and you've invested quite a bit of money into it. I was wondering how you decided the budget breakdown of it. Like, were there some things you sacrificed or had to compromise to keep it within the restraints of the budget? Like producing wise. Because I know you casted all the beautiful actors in that too. So, just wondering.
Beautiful actors as in yourself, girl, guys. That's my homegirl right there. She acted like she loved it. That's my girl Jessa. She's also very talented, and she you like creatively set up like she's like, what did you do?
Like I designed
Set design, yes.
Yeah, so if you guys ever need a set designer, my girl that's right there. But so, you know, I feel like a lot of artists don't really talk about like the finances because it can feel like really embarrassing and discouraging. But I just want to let you guys know that when it comes to this sort of this career, it takes a lot of investing in yourself and putting down a lot of money to one, compensate producers, engineers, directors for music videos and all of that. And in a way, like, you also need to learn like basic skills of video editing and all of that, because when it comes to putting out your brand, you have to understand all the aspects that come into it, especially if you're an independent artist. So definitely when it came to my music video specifically, yes, we had a budget, and I was so glad to have worked with Jonathan, who also pitched in money, but it was a lot of favors on a lot of my friends' ends. The song revolved around my love for women. It was like sort of my ode to the women in my life that have really inspired me and motivated me. So they kind of just did it for free. And sometimes it just takes, you know, your community to really just show up for you, and that doesn't have to feel embarrassing. It doesn't have to feel like, oh, like, damn, like I'm really in this position. Like, I hope that no one looks at me as like being stingy or anything like that, but like the right people will show up for you, and that's why networking is so important. Reaching out to people, maybe exchanging sort of favors. Yeah, there's like different ways and outlets to really allow for your dreams to happen. Don't think you have to drop thousands of dollars, because that doesn't necessarily have to be the situation. And yeah, just I also pray a lot too, so sometimes when I find myself wanting certain things to happen, I'll be manifesting or praying, and God be doing his job. So, you know, give it up to the Lord. But yeah, I hope that answered your question.
Yeah. We can take one more question after this one.
Hey y'all, how y'all, hello. How y'all doing? This question is for everyone or anyone who wants to answer, but my question, by the way, hi, my name is Matthew Mark. My question is going to be, what is your relationship to pressure? Because especially when it comes to being in creative outlets as well as like creative businesses, not only do you have to balance that sense of doing things authentically yourself, and that's why you are graced to being like the first or very early type of like role in this type of career, but with that puts a lot of pressure of like, I have to represent the Philippines, I have to represent like the best of gay culture or straight culture or just like any of that. So how do you balance that like sense of pressure but still staying authentically yourself?
Ooh, I love that. I love that question. I think pressure is great. So because pressure allows you to make a decision if you're going to lean into fear or courage, right? And without pressure, you can be stagnant, right? So with pressure, you have to make that choice. And there's no wrong in either, because if you choose fear, there are things to learn from allowing fear to dictate your life. And you have to fall sometimes to rise up again. And so I like pressure. I think leaning into it is great because it allows you the opportunity to make that choice. And when you make that choice, the lessons that you learn from both sides. If that makes sense. Yeah.
I feel like, especially as creatives or just people in general, but especially as creatives, you're always under pressure, and not just from society and people, but within yourself. I feel like I put so much more pressure on myself than everyone else does, and it's a constant battle. You're just always under pressure. But it's what you do with that pressure, that action after that, that's what matters the most. And truthfully, I mean, pressure makes diamonds, so.
Yeah. I kind of just first think, like, what is this from? Like, where is this coming from? Where is this pressure coming from? Is it internal? Is it external? Is it in theory? And I try to challenge those things. And if I really care about the source of that pressure, then obviously I'll give it energy. But I like to get into a really meditative state and detach from all of that too. Because I know that ultimately the most important part is getting the job done, like getting the mission, the goal. So kind of like, okay, well, it's funny, I was just at a battle in Denver, and I don't know if you guys know this dancer named Samo. Like, he's dope, like, yeah. And I was talking to him about the battle the day before, and I was like, yeah, I just feel this pressure, like, I'm here, and I'm like, you know, whatever, to like win, and he's like, what pressure? And I was like, what do you mean? Like, literally, I'm supposed to win because it's my sponsor's event, blah, blah, blah. And he's like, what pressure? And that just stuck with me. It just stuck with me because I was like, where is it coming from? We're here. I'm literally, there's nothing happening. It's like quiet. Well, maybe there was like music and we're talking, but I'm like, okay, bring myself back to what's happening right now. There's some glasses of water, there's a fan, there's AC. Like, you know what I mean? Just kind of like coming back here and then catching it every time that thought or emotion comes up. It's like, wait, no, you need to get out of here. Like, you don't belong here right now. And then just practicing that will create like that habit. And then, but I feel like honestly, the more you do it, the more you do the thing that makes you feel that pressure, the more that feeling of pressure will go away. Because ultimately, that's just like, I'm just like, it's just a feeling. What's that? Nina Simone, it's just a feeling. But I don't know, I just felt like sharing that.
Thank you.
Earlier I said the choice is like fear or courage, but maybe the third choice is release, right? To decide to see and release it too. That is the third choice.
Gems. I hope everyone wrote that down. Are we good for one more? Great. So last question, opening up the floor. Ooh, all the way back. You're getting your steps in, man. Let's go.
A lot of cardio.
Like towards the singers, how did you guys meet a producer and start working with them? Like really connected with? Because I work with producers and it's not really connected with as much as I want to.
So it's funny that you asked that because my main producer, he actually moved to Colorado. So it was like, oh man, like I have to find someone, and I was also going through a lot. I had lost like a lot of my friends, so it was very much like me having to like really step out of my comfort zone and be independent and be that big strong woman that I know I always could be. And so I had to go to these events. I had to go to these networking events, like open mics, and there's so much that's like happening in the scene of San Diego where it's very creative and a lot of artists are really showing up for themselves. So they're all over social media, and like, girl, I can send you some that you should go to. But yeah, definitely just going to these events, networking, despite how intimidating it is, like there's so many people who are willing to help you. And yeah, that's kind of how I got into that. And also like people be DMing me too. Make sure to post that content, girl, because they will also reach out to you, so don't be afraid. Yeah, just do everything that you feel will help. Go to the events, post more. go to the person that you feel like has a lot of connections and maybe you'll have a good sort of harmony with when it comes to working. But always know that the first time you ever work with someone, it might not be like the most harmonious experience, and so just don't give up, keep experiencing, like trying to be with like other producers and all of that, because the right one will definitely come.
I think that piggybacking off of what Catrice said, like the power of social media right now is very strong. I would say if there's one strategic thing that you can do is if there is an artist that you resonate with, their sound and everything like that, go on YouTube, look like underneath these artists' songs, there's always at least one or two people who are like, hey, I make beats that sound like this, and don't worry, I mean, I'm very much I want to work with you in person because I need to feel out the energy, I need to feel out the vibe. So if that's the kind of route that you want to take, sometimes you gotta be okay with being discouraged that you're having to do a lot of trial and errors, but eventually something starts sticking. And I think working with different styles of production will also show you, it might awaken a part of you that you're like, okay, wait, I don't typically sing this type of sound, but I'm drawing a liking to this, maybe I'll just vibe with it, I'll see what comes of it. So I think just being completely open and also being sure about what you want in your sound and like putting that out there, that's gonna attract like the right producer for you. And don't be afraid to tell producers like, this is the kind of sound that I want, can you create it? And if you can't, then you can't, but I think something that would be really helpful is if there's an artist that you do like, go to their page, go see who's commenting under their stuff, who's creating music just like them, and I guarantee that you would find like one or two, maybe like 5 people who could produce sounds that you like.
Definitely don't try to just rely on one person and like be dependent on one person. Definitely try to work with a lot of producers at once, because if that person can't emulate what it is that you're trying to do, like you'll always have that other person. Like don't try to pause your goal of putting on a song because, oh, you don't have this person. So yes, just try to have as much people to like network with and get to know and work with as producers.
So that's going to wrap up our first panel of the day. Please give it up for our 5 panelists. So before we transition into our next event, or our next, the next part of our agenda, I have some announcements to make. Courtesy of the BTG staff. Yeah.
Oh, staff.
Oh, yeah. Okay, so. Wow, that's cool. Free headshots will begin during lunch in the content room. So please form a line in front of the content room if you'd like to take headshots. Sir, you have to have free headshots.
Budget.
Okay, next one. Y'all can visit the front desk at any time to buy more raffle tickets for our fundraiser. Yes, cool. We'll pull the first round of raffle tickets after R&L's workshop. Some of the prizes are great. Please go ahead and check that out, yeah? And last thing, the BTG staff would like 2 volunteers in the audience to take a testimonial video after the panel ends. If y'all would like to be a part of our social media content, or if this panel really moved you, feel free to meet us in.
Just raise your hand.
There you go. Raise your hand and tell.
Okay.
Nice.
1. Okay, 2. Thank you guys. I'll meet you guys over there later. Thank you.
Sick. Everyone give a shout out to Kat real quick.
Oh,
yeah. And now we're going to take a group picture. In the meantime, though, we'll move on to the next agenda. We'll go real quick. Can't see it.
Thank you. Hold on,
Okay. And I believe the next part is on-house workshop, right? All right. right, so
Give a round of applause for our panel.
How we move in the world. A mission statement's important because of these different things. So one of the first things, of course, it conveys your identity, what makes you unique. It also conveys your values. And then, of course, for businesses and groups, it's your collective purpose. So one thing I wanted to mention, and we're going to get into it later, is there is something called the principle of three. So, ooh, it's kind of loud. All right, I'll try to see. Principle of three is where when you list things in threes, you most likely will remember it. But once you add one more thing, it's most likely you're only going to remember the first thing or the last thing. So whenever you're like introducing yourself, like your bio, or when you're creating a mission statement, you really want to make the list of things that you are or things that you do 3 or less, so people remember. Does that make sense? Right? So let's take a look at a couple of mission statements from organizations. So the first one is Nike. So let's take a look at Nike's mission statement. I'm going to have different people read it. Can I have you read it, brother?
Yeah. To bring inspiration and innovation to every athlete in the world. If you have a body, you are an athlete.
Yeah. So I feel like that mission statement is really short and sweet, but it kind of sets the tone as far as the spirit and like the belief system of Nike. And then this is Kubo in Long Beach. It's like my local.
Kubo Long Beach's mission is to cultivate a thriving Filipino faith community space in Long Beach by providing a collaborative environment for small businesses to grow, offering a safe and inclusive space for the Filipino communities and supporting creative learning and sharing.
So you notice that they listed 3 things they do, right? So as a nonprofit organization, people are going to know, oh, you know what? I want to donate $10,000 just for this, right? Or I like all 3 things, so I'm going to donate, $1,000, but I want to see what you actually do with it with these 3 things, right? So saying things in lists allows people to know how they're going to support you, and if they do support you, where that money's going to be spent. Let's go to culture shock. So Culture Shock is actually a nonprofit that I'm a part of. It's a dance organization. So I'm just going to read that one. Culture Shock utilizes dance to cultivate education, entertainment, and empowerment to inspire positive change in the communities we serve. So that's really short, but sometimes you can even list your service forks in the same letter to kind of be able to play with branding, right? So we could put a big E and list all 3, and people might more likely will remember that, right? But with Culture Shock, we have grants that only want to support education only, right? And we have partners who want to like buy a dance competition. We're like, I want to partner with you with entertainment, right? And then the empowerment is all of our youth troops. So a lot of nonprofits partner with Culture Shock because of the youth troop, the empowerment aspect of Culture Shock. And then the last one, to me, this one's like my favorite. This is my favorite mission statement that I've ever co-created with the crew, and this is Logan's, one of Logan's crews, Underground Flow. Actually, I'll let Logan read it.
We are hip-hop creatives, dance athletes, and visionaries who believe in honoring those before us, celebrating those among us, and inspiring the next generation. Through purpose-driven art, education, and community engagement, we aim to bridge diverse dance communities and promote physical, mental, and spiritual awareness to uplift humanity.
Yeah. So when you look at like the word, and I feel like these words like are reflected in Logan and Impact and Villain, like all in their own way. I just felt like it was like the choice of words are like so connected to the group members, and that's why I really, really love this mission. So I learned after a while, like, so I'm obviously in my 50s. Around my 30s is when I was like really trying to really dive deep into who I am and what I do and is that important to the world, is it not? And so a mentor back then challenged me to write a personal mission statement. They're like, you give so much to organizations, like do you even know who you are yourself? You know, like what you have to offer. And why are you attracted to Culture Shock? Why are you attracted to Kinjaz? There must be a reason. Do you know what those reasons are? And I realized that I never stopped and took the time to dive deep into like what is my identity? What do I offer to the world? And when I did it for myself, I realized, man, I'm gonna spend as much time as I can helping other people do that for themselves. You know, especially in creative pathways. There is judgment from the world of who you should be, and then there's pressures from within our community to who we should be, and then there's pressures within ourselves who we should be. But we know ourselves the most, and sometimes when we create a mission statement, then we at least have a compass to look back to and see how we've changed, how we've stayed the same, and how we stay rooted in who we are. Does that make sense? So like even, this is Sora's, and I know that we wrote this during the pandemic, and I know that if she were to look at this right now, a lot of it would stay the same, but she's become a mother recently, and I wouldn't be surprised if motherhood would shift some of these words that she chose for herself. This is Beast, one of my favorite people to know and to grow with. I think he's a wordsmith, and so I love the time that he took. He invests in a lot of trumpers like all around the world. So him taking time to have someone invest in him, which I was like feeling honored to do, created like a good foundation for our brotherhood. And so I really love his mission statement. I love for his identities, he chose, I'm a raw artist, believer, and educator. That's how he sees himself first and foremost. And this is Logan. So Logan used a word for her mission statement that like blew me away from the first time I met with her. She identified herself as an egalitarian. And I'll be real with y'all, I had to look that shit up. When she picked egalitarian, I was like, oh, what does egalitarian mean? It means a person who believes in promoting equality amongst all people, right? So I love hers, her identity as artist and egalitarian. And then all of these are her service works. And of course, this is many years ago as well. I wouldn't be surprised if some of this changes as well. And we're going to go through that exercise right now. So yeah, it's another one. Carlo, right? A local artist here. Love Carlo. So now we're going to transition into you writing your own mission statement. Okay? In your handout, can I get one of the worksheets? No, you can. So I developed a worksheet that kind of helps guide you towards arriving at your mission statement. So the first thing I want you to do is go ahead and grab a pen, and I want you to write all the identities that come to mind when you think about yourself as an individual here. You know? Some of the examples could be things like egalitarian, educator, but it also can be something as like grounded and rooted as human being, right? As a Filipinx person, right? So feel free to go ahead and we're gonna take like 1-2 minutes to just write down as many as you can think of, identities of how you see yourself in the world. How we see ourselves in the world may be different than what other people see us. So I want you to resist the temptation to write down words that other people expect of you and really stay rooted in writing words that are meaningful to yourself, okay? Some of those words could be general too. It could be like, I am a son. You saw that BC wrote, I'm a believer. Like TJ, he wrote, I'm a proud disabled Asian American. So it might be your ethnicity, it might be also, how you describe yourself proudly. Okay. So go ahead and write as many down as you can. And then when you finish writing down as many as you can think of, playing off the power of 3, what you're going to do is you're going to circle the top 3 from your list that resonate with you the most at this point. So out of all the list of things that you're writing down, put a star or put a circle around no more than 3. Anything between 1 and 3 that stand out the most to you when you read it. When you look at it and you really think, this is who I am. I also don't want you to be hard on yourself if you're struggling, because identity is something that's ever evolving. And depending on where we are in our lives, sometimes this part might be hard. So it's okay if this part is hard and you're having trouble finding words, because this is something you can come back to later. Okay? But when you come back to it later, again, make sure that when you circle, you're circling no more than 3, because we're really going to play off the power of 3 and make sure that we don't miss anything more. All right, so next to that column, you're going to now look at adjectives. So look at those identity words, especially the ones that you circle. Is there an adjective you want to add in front of the identity that really makes that identity feel more you? Like I mentioned earlier, I love TJ. He put, I am a proud disabled Asian American health professional and medium. So his 2 identities were professional and being a medium, but his adjectives were disabled, Asian American, and proud. Right? So you go ahead and write down any adjectives that you feel you want to put in front of any of those identities that you circle. Because I think sometimes when we do add adjectives, it colors it a lot more personally. And if you have a word that you write on the second column and it really feels attached to a particular identity, go ahead and draw a line across to that identity, right? So if one of your adjectives doesn't go with all 3, it goes with 1, go ahead and draw a line into that identity, okay? All right, so the next thing we're going to do is the third column is your values and beliefs. So what are things that you believe in, right? So for example, when we look at this is Villain or Stephen Lord, and he wrote that I'm a creative vessel with an artistic free spirit that believes in using purpose-driven art, the philosophy of movement, and community experience, to naturally enlighten, elevate, and empower humanity. So write things that you believe in that column that are related to your values. So I believe in this, I am dedicated to this. That's kind of the prompts, and you want to write phrases or sentences, whatever you think that articulates who you are and what you believe in. To me, this column is the one that you kind of come back to, because this one takes a lot more thought and time. But if you have an idea right now, go ahead and write that. Especially if you have a mantra. Some of us have a mantra or something that kind of stayed with us. That's a good thing to throw into this column. Okay, so we're going to move on to the next. And I'm moving quickly just because this is a short workshop. But of course, if you have any questions later, you can reach out to me anytime and we can dialogue about it. But your next column is going to be your services to the world. So when you look at TJ's, his services are education, occupational therapy, and entrepreneurship, right? So start writing down a list of services to the world that you feel like you deliver. That could be like dope artistry, that could be music, that could be dance education, that could be mentorship, that could be marketing, whatever your field or your service forks are, you're gonna go ahead and write that down in that column. And just like we did with the identity and the role, once we're done writing our list of services to the world, you're gonna go ahead and like circle your top 3, whether that's 1, 2, or 3, you're gonna go ahead and circle those. And the reason why that's important is when you list what you do, what you provide to the world, that is a signal to let people know, this is what I do if you wanna collaborate with me. This is what you want to do if you want to support me. This is what you want to look at if you want me to support you, right? So it basically spoon feeds to the reader and also reminder to yourself your unique gifts, the things that you care about doing, right? And like Roanne mentioned earlier, she's a nurse and she's a musician, right? She's a singing artist. So in her mission statement, depending on how important nursing is, she's going to list that. If it's not, if it's like a means to be able to do your artistry, you're probably not going to list that, right? Because you don't need support for that. You don't need collaboration for that. You really want to list the things in here that you want to build, that you want to offer to the world, and that you want support from the world. So obviously, like if you're really in like creative flow, your mission statement can be a lot longer with a lot of more wordsmithing, or it can be a lot like simpler and shorter. If you're like more succinct. All right, in the next column, you're going to write adjectives. So when you think about the services that you offer, so look at your column in the one before, and look at the ones that you circled. If you look at your services and you want to like add an adjective to it, then go ahead and write those adjectives and again draw a line right to that service. So for example, if I were to say that one of my service forks was artistry, but I wanted to put human-centered, artistry or storytelling artistry, those are kind of adjectives that I would add there to kind of give color again what I do with a lot more humanness and a lot more like feeling. So go ahead and write as many adjectives as you want. And then, how am I doing on time? You have like 5 minutes or 8 minutes? Okay, perfect. So go ahead and write as many adjectives. And then the final one, the final column that is going to be, that you're going to fill out is who do you serve, right? So who do you serve could be very specific. So for example, if I want to say I serve the Filipinx community, right? That's very specific. I could also be very broad and say people of all backgrounds, right? People of all walks of life. So making that choice is not an either or, it could be an and. You could be very specific and you could be broad, but those choices also let people know what is your community that you serve look like. So for example, Heaven, your community could be very specific in terms of like the networking community, or it could be like, no, we want to actually make it for all people that want to just connect, right? It depends on like how you want to write that, right? So you can be, again, who you serve can be large, broad, open, or specific. So once you have all of those columns like filled out, then you can start pasting together words from each of the columns to create your mission statement. Does that make sense? So you can say, I am a loving artist who believes in uplifting people of all backgrounds. Right? You're going to take aspects of the columns and you're going to write 1 to 2 sentences, 3 at the most, that articulate who you are, how you want to be supported, and also what makes you extraordinary in the world. And so this is important for building community, but most important, it's important for you to be able to check in with yourself, right? Because when you create a statement that affirms yourself, you can always look back on that, whether that's 2 weeks later, 3 months later, 2 years later, 5 years later, and you have something to compare to see like, oh, am I growing? Am I evolving? Am I consistent? I am ever changing. There's no right or wrong to any of those questions. It's just what is right for you, right? It's not about being perfect, it's about being perfectly yourself. So when you make a commitment to go through an exercise like this, you're making a commitment to yourself to say, I am affirming who I am. I know that what I have has value, it has impact. And I'm willing to do the work to dig deep within myself and also see one of the biggest takeaways of writing a mission statement is also to see if you align with other organizations, right? Because you know how sometimes you're like working for an organization, you're like, I fucking love it here, it's amazing. Or you're like working for something, you're like, I don't feel aligned, something feels off. If you have your mission statement and you have the organization's mission statement and there's nothing that aligns with you, you know you're in the wrong space. But if you don't have a barometer for yourself, it's sometimes hard to know that, right? To know if you're aligned with a crew, if you're aligned with a dance company, if you're aligned with a production company, if you're aligned with a sponsor. Someone wants to sponsor you, but their values don't match who you are, your values. So even though the money's there, is that really good in the long run? Sometimes it is, but a lot of times it's not, right? So before you give your power away, before you give your gifts away, before you give your voice, your extraordinary gifts to other people, I think it's really powerful to first invest in yourself and affirm yourself and really re-examine the words that you use to identify yourself before you even give people creative direction on how to identify themselves. If you don't know yourself, you can't direct other people. You can't really collaborate in a fully deep and authentic way. So you need to start within, and you deserve the time to do this. So I really encourage you. My commitment to you is, if you commit to this process, then my line is open. You can reach out to me through my email, through Instagram, or whatever, and I'll workshop your mission statement with you to get it to the end. If you make that commitment to yourself. So that is the kind of the gift that I leave with you all today, is if you commit to yourself, I will commit to you. And if you don't commit to yourself, no judgment. I know maybe it's another time, but I just really hope you do. Thank you. Feel free to look at the mission statements up here too if you want to get ideas for words, because a lot of us, when we write our mission statements, we also get inspiration from other people. And I know for me, when I wrote my mission statement, I got a lot of inspiration from these other leaders too.
Can you guys hear me?
Yeah.
Okay. Hi guys. Kat again. Get your raffle tickets out. Okay. So we're gonna be drawing some raffle tickets before we head into lunch. Before we start that, I wanted to make the announcement that we're going to begin the free headshots as well once you're all dismissed. So does everyone see the black chair over there? Say yeah.
Yeah.
If you do. Okay, awesome. That's where the line is going to start, and it's going to go this way, so along the wall. So we have Naui over there, our talented director of creative strategy, and she's going to be taking our free headshots. And I'm going to be giving out first a free drink from Kape Buana. Alright, so everyone has their stub, right? Wave it in the air so I know that everyone's good. Okay, yes. Awesome. Okay. Raffle number 1165.
No way.
Really? Yay! Okay, come up here. Don't fret, everybody. We still have 2 more prizes to give away. And then we're also going to have a raffle after the second panel and after D-Trix's keynote speech. So you have to be present to win. Oh, I don't know what I'm doing. It's over there.
Oh.
You can claim it over there. Yes. Oh, I see.
Yeah.
Okay, perfect. Guys, you really good, I promise. Okay. Next is gonna be a free bowl from Cujo Eats. Woo! There's Uncle Joel. If anyone's ever in a national city and they just need a nice home-cooked meal, Uncle Joel is the second best Filipino place in San Diego. The first would be my dad's restaurant. Totally not biased. Okay. Number 1, 2, 1, 4.
Ooh.
Let me see. Hey, everyone give it up for. Thank you, Brandon. You can claim your free cards over there. All right, and for the one-on-one session with Dr. Arnell, the way that these work is that you do have to be present, and then once you do win the one-on-one, you can just come up to one of the volunteers and give them your email, and we'll set up a 1-hour Zoom with the talent. All right, cool.
Interesting.
The one-on-one session goes to, wait, okay, yeah. I was like, is this the same number? 1169. 1169, anyone?
And
Congratulations! What do you have to say?
This is amazing.
All right. Yes. Did you guys enjoy the first panel? Awesome. So we're going to break out into lunch, and then we're going to make an announcement when the second panel is going to start, so you guys can find your seats. Thank you so much.
Yo, spam fell.
Don't forget to line up over here if you want to get your fan shot.
Yo, my spam actually fell.
Alright. Before I bring out our MCs and our panelists, I just wanted to take a quick moment to say thank you to our vendors. So we have Cafe Muna, Inai Herbs, and Cujo Eats. Did you guys enjoy the lunch? I know I did. We just wanted to say thank you for not just sharing your delicious food, coffee, and herbal magic, but your heart, culture, and passion with all of us. Your presence added warmth and flavor to our event. If you loved what you tasted and drank today, you can follow them on their socials. Feel free to stop by their booths, get to know them, and connect with them. They're really great small businesses to support in our community. Yeah? Awesome. And we wanted to say a special thank you to the Hub, our venue, for being able to host us generously. Their space gave our vision a home, and the support means so much to us in the community that we serve. Here's to hosting more events like these in the near future, and if you want to have your own event here, there's some information at the front of the front desk for renting the Hub out. Are you guys ready to get started? Yeah! Alright, so I have the pleasure and honor, that's so much better. And everyone say thank you to Marlon, the event coordinator for the Hub. She's been working tirelessly all day since any of us got here to help run the event, so thank you to Marlon. Alright, so our first MC is Juju Senna, for those of you that weren't here earlier. Julian Juju Senna is a choreographer, teacher, and dance team director based in San Diego, California. He has directed dance teams such as 220 and Culture Shock San Diego, and has taught dance workshops around the world. His credits include BTS, J-Hope, Billie Eilish, Beats by Dre, Cirque du Soleil, Janet Jackson, Neiman Gattis, Albert Poises, Beyond Babel, and so many more. He's also an instructor on the online dance class streaming service, Steezy Studio. In April 2019, he founded and produced his very first show, Platform Dance Showcase, with a mission to provide a creative outlet for dancers to showcase their work. Please give it up for Juju Senna. And our second and last MC is Arnold Lopez. Arnold Lopez is an education innovator and workforce strategist focused on bridging the college to career gap for underrepresented students. Come on, bridge the gap. As Senior Director at First Gen Scholars and a Research Fellow with the Harvard Project on Workforce, he designs systems using labor data, AI, and design thinking to drive equity and mobility. A Harvard and MIT alum, Arnold created platforms like Nexus to help students and schools adapt to a changing workforce. His first-gen background shaped his empathetic, strategic approach to building inclusive career pathways. So amazing. Give it up for Arnold Lopez. And we're introducing our panel two speakers.
Thank you. All right. Our next panel. Oh, I should say thank you, Kat. Thank you, Kat.
Thank you, Kat.
All right, so our next panel is filled with powerful visual storytellers, from animation to film to online content. Let's go ahead and dive in, shall we? Jeff Rango has worked with the animation industry for 30 years as a character designer, production designer, story artist, head of story, and co-executive producer. He has helped develop many major animation films. He's known for creating memorable musical moments and characters in films, including Disney's Frozen and Moana, and Sony's Surf's Up. At Netflix, he co-executive produced and was head of story on the epic Maya and the 3 miniseries which he won an Emmy for writing. Currently, he is developing several unannounced projects at Netflix. Jeff is a former professor at CalArts and has been a featured speaker all over the world and has given talks in Portugal, Taipei, Beijing, and most recently at the Academy Museum of Motion Pictures in Hollywood. Everyone, let's go ahead and give a warm round of applause for Jeff Rango!
Next up is our second animator. Born in Zambales, Philippines, Jules Agumatan went to Mount McGill High School. Went to Mount McGill High School and played in the marching band, playing clarinet. He went to CalArts in 1990 and studied character animation. Then later interned at Disney Animation in Florida and went into the story training program in Burbank in 1994. The first film he worked on was Mulan. Not Mulan. And has been in the animation business for over 30 years. As a director on Firebuds for a couple of seasons, Jules is currently at Disney Television Animation working on Sophia the First. Please join me in welcoming Jules Agumatan to the stage.
All right, now for our filmmakers. Adrian Pangilinan is a Filipino-American content creator, filmmaker, photographer, plus dance artist based in San Diego, California. His work is greatly inspired by his quest for representation as a brown, Filipino, and LGBTQ human. He intends on pursuing his dream of becoming a filmmaker focusing on LGBTQ plus related themes that challenge the status quo and initiate dialogues necessary for change. His credits include ABS-CBN/TFC, GMA, Humanoid TV, Goldilocks, and Vogue Italia. Everyone, put your hands together for Adrian Pangilinan!
All right. Next up, Jonathan de Guzman. The second is a Filipino-American director and writer from San Diego, living in Los Angeles. Using humor and style, Jonathan strives to bring relatability to his AAPI community. His directional projects have screened at festivals such as the Los Angeles Pacific Film Festival, the Asian American International Film Festival, and NFFTY. During his undergraduate career, Jonathan was awarded Best Picture and Best Screenplay of 2021 at UC Irvine. Everyone, let's welcome Jonathan de Guzman.
Certainly last but not least is our final filmmaker, Marissa Rojas. Marissa Rojas, she there, is an award-winning independent filmmaker based in San Diego, California. Representation is powerful, which is exactly why she decided to pursue a career in filmmaking. She is the first and foremost a cinematographer, but sees herself returning to the director's chair for stories that can be best told in her voice as a queer Filipino American. In 2024, numbers, Juju, she wrote and directed the short film You Plus Me Will Always Be Back Then, a very personal story born out of heartbreak. The film premiered at the San Diego Filipino Film Festival and earned the Audience Award in Outside the Box Short Program. When she's not on set, Marissa cultivates a creative community she helped co-found called the Film Collective. Outside of filmmaking, she is a martial artist, training in Kaju Kendo, boxing, and Filipino martial arts. We give a big round of applause to Marissa Rojas! All right, let's get this panel started. Hi, everyone.
Hello.
One thing that stood out to me about this panel is everyone is such a gifted storyteller when it comes to their craft. Let me fix my right page first. Gosh. So, with that being said, with all that gifted storytelling, each panelist has some amazing projects under their belt. We also have a recent award winner, Marissa, right? After hearing about everyone's careers, what's a moment or project that you guys are most proud of and why?
Okay, I'll start. Hello, everyone. Hey. Okay, so yeah, you and me always back then, each won the audience award at the Senior Filipino Film Festival this past, well, last year. Let me slow down the way I'm talking. That project's very personal to me. I'm proud of the project as a whole. It honestly was like a grad school experience for me because I went to film school at San Diego State University. It's been 7 years as I've been in my career as a filmmaker, as a creative. So I finally pulled the trigger and made my own project, funded it, crowdfunded it. Yeah, I'm really proud of it, and when I watch it now, even though it's a complicated relationship with our art, I'm sure we can all feel like very self-critical sometimes. I watch the film and I see myself in it, and I know I put my heart and soul in it, and I think that's what I'm most proud of. Also, we just had the best time making the film.
I watched the film too, it's awesome. I watched that San Diego Cinema, that's great. For me, I mean, every project that I made, I've been pretty proud of just the people that I worked with and all the crews. There's always like a good energy and a different energy for each one. But I would say, I guess my most recent project that I directed a music video, and it's like my first music video that was like distributed through Vivo. And I grew up watching a bunch of Vivo music videos growing up. Like, that was like my whole childhood. So that was a very pinch me moment. But yeah, that's probably my proudest moment that I've had as a director.
For me, it would definitely be still my past short, Complete Sayaw, The Late Checkout. That story was very personal to me because of how I was able to take my very, really, I wouldn't say dark, but very lonely pandemic experience, and how I was able to cope with everything that had happened and to turn it into something that made sense as a form of not only healing but as a way of processing. So for context, it's a hookup film. So if you're don't watch it, but it's awesome. You know, it's from my perspective as a brown queer person, and also too, I think with this film was really the first time that I felt comfortable, saying that I'm a filmmaker, because I feel like I've done it so DIY, YouTube University, but after making that film, when Marissa as my DP, and having my friends, my community, literally be there for me, it felt like, oh, there's something real in this, there's something tangible.
I guess for me, the most proudest I've been on a project is, it's easy to say Mulan because that was my first project, my first film. But 30 years later, I work on a show called Firebuds, and because of the Filipino representation that was in that show, it's definitely like, it's really a dream come true. It's one of those things where I could actually bring in some personal experience, you know, into the story. And one of our head writers, she's Filipino and queer, you know, and so she was able to tell her stories, you know, the show. So for me to be there to kind of help facilitate that and help with the story was just definitely like, you know, really just doing it for you guys, you know, because this is an opportunity to really, you know, tell our stories. Even though they're kids shows, a Disney Junior show, but still, you know, kids are watching this. Hopefully lots of kids are watching this. And definitely, you know, really, really proud of that show.
No comment. I mean, it's hard to say because every show you work on, it's so personal and fun. But I want to say, like on My and the Three, I actually got to be a character in there, and I did a voice, and he was actually Filipino, and he speaks Tagalog in the show, and it's a Mesoamerican, you know, mythology. But the director I'm friends with, he's like, let's just make you a character and throw you in there. So, and being a co-exec producer on it, I finally felt like, oh, I get to play with the big dogs. And so, and then I got an Emmy award from it. So it's like, finally, some recognition after 30 years. So that was it. Oh.
Adding on to that, like, I think it's so amazing how, like, representation, Filipino representation in film and animation has been such a, it's been progressively, we're seeing more of it, right? I think as someone who grew up in the, like, 90s, watching TV and movies, and not really seeing any Filipino representation, to now when you go ahead and watch a Spider-Man movie and, you know, Ned Sunti is speaking in Tagalog just straight up, you're kind of just like, wow, it's really impactful to see that in our culture in that way. And when you were saying, Jules, about, you know, making those kids shows with like Filipino representation, that's super impactful as a kid. Like I wish I had that growing up. So speaking of our next question, Arnie, take it away.
And one thing we always hear too is, like, sometimes we hear all publicity is good publicity, but is all representation positive representation? So how do we identify what that looks like? And the next question for me speaks to that. If you can give an example of what positive representation looks like for y'all individually, and how your experiences seeing that has shaped your career and successes. So really holding into that positive representation, and what does that look like? That was a dream, positive representation in the industry.
Oh, were you starting?
That's what we're for anybody.
Yeah, that's for everyone.
Oh,
whoever
you
wants to
guys
start.
who wants to jump? I'll go. All right, go.
I'll try.
So we're talking about just like representation in terms of seeing someone in the, or like seeing someone in front of the camera, or just like our culture through the media.
That's what we're, I think, so that's even the deeper layer of the question, and it's up to interpretation, depending on the identity or the feeling or the specific industry.
So definitely, hell yes, for seeing our faces on screen, like people that look like us, people that speak like us, and people as tall as me and 5'2". But kidding aside, so I think my answer to this question is more so in terms of being a storyteller, because this next short that I'm working on, it's actually really requiring me to really look at myself and also like my family dynamics as a growing up being Filipino. And for those that know me, I really love being Filipino. But I think this is going to be the first time where I'm really gonna have to reckon with maybe, like things aren't always as like sort of like sunshines and flowers. And as a storyteller, I guess my answer is I feel like it's my responsibility. It's my responsibility to try to find a way to convey authenticity and through storytelling in a way where if I know my intentions are clear, and if I'm being specific, family trauma, and a lot of the yelling, PTSD, and a lot of these things that, I've experienced, I feel like for me, it should be okay because, like someone could be watching and they could be like, like that's happening to me too.
I think for representation specifically that I don't think there's this idea of this positive representation as storytellers. I feel like we're pigeonholed as people of color specifically to tell a certain story because of your culture. But I think as storytellers and filmmakers, animators, anyone who's just a storyteller in general should just tell a story that champions their authenticity and who they are, because there's so much complexity being a Filipino or Asian American. You don't have to always be, like even just being Asian American and being an Asian immigrant, it's such a different dynamic and a different way of growing up. So I think representation to me is just really being who you are and what really aligns with yourself and what you want to do and what you want to see. And that's all that really matters. You don't have to tell a story that is answering a question of like representation. Like just because we're Filipino, we have to tell this Filipino story. Like you can just tell the story about whatever you want, but you are Filipino, you know? So that's my take on representation when it comes to that.
Yeah, I think I relate to Jonathan a lot too, where it's like, you can tell any story that you want. You and me will always be like that. I always, first and foremost, say it's a love story. But my Filipino Americanness, my queerness adds texture to it. So I think the best way to make more authentic, more positive representation is to take what is very personal to you and just add texture to whatever story you want to tell. Because people are always going to find the universality in the story. Another, I think maybe some of you have watched Yellow Rose, the film. And that film is about immigration, but also the deeper story is like the relationship between a mother and daughter. But the opening scene, you see a Filipino household, and those of us who are Filipino can almost already be transported to that world and feel that closeness to it. So yes, my advice is to allow your multi-dimensional identities to add texture to your story, to a love story, to an adventure story, to an action story, whatever it is that you're trying to tell.
I mean, we've come a long way with representation in film and media, like I said, and then I worked on Mulan, that was my first project. This is back in the mid-90s, and even working on that felt like, oh, it's cool, we're doing an Asian story, and so, we had to really take care of, just the authenticity of the story of the Chinese culture and stuff like that. Even though we're still making a movie to entertain, and that's what it is in our business. Jeff and I do in our field, is that we're here to entertain. And even on Fireboats, we throw in some Filipino culture in there. We're still trying to laugh. We have gags, all this stuff, and whatever the story is about, we'll do our best to, at least for me, I'll try to bring some of my own personal stuff into the characters, and even like how the characters interact. Like we have like a Lolo character, in one of our episodes, and like this is relationship between the Lolo and his grandson, and I try to think of like stories. Even though I'm not very close with my grandfathers, they all passed away, but even just by watching, because we hang out at parties. We see Filipinos, and we know our uncles, our elders, and we see that relationship with some people. So all that observation, we try to incorporate into the story. And that's just one example. But I just feel like we definitely have come a long way with this representation, and we're all trying to definitely, especially like entertainers, it's become much more widespread, which is cool. When you hear about so-and-so doing a voice for this character. But it was cool when I worked on Mulan, because when we look at the headshots of who did voices, the first one I saw was Lea Salonga. Like, oh, wow, Leia's on this movie, you know? And back then I had a big crush on her, so it's like, oh man, that's right. So stuff like that's really cool. It's you know, now it's like, and I got to direct Leia on Clara, but she, you know, I pushed for her naming, and we got her because my showrunner, you know, even though he's white, but you know, he was cool enough to really take a chance. And he had worked with Leia on another. He worked on he's got to create Sophia the First, and he brought in Leia to do a song. I don't know if it's the first season of Sophia, but she came on, and so we invited her back to do a voice on Firebuds, and she was willing to do it. And for me, that was obviously a trick commercial, but oh my God, it's Leia, you know. But yeah, I don't know. It's great to see more representation in our business.
Yeah. Just, you know, it's funny, like when Jules and I went to CalArts in LA for animation, to learn about animation. And we were like, there was only one Filipino artist up there, Lauren. And then after that, like, there were like 4 or 5 more, and they were all, the funny thing was they were all from San Diego. And so, as we're going into the business, we're slowly getting out there and like trying to put ourselves in the industry. And now you're gonna see coming out stuff with Filipino like animation. There's one at DreamWorks right now where it's about Filipino monsters. So that's coming out soon. So it's slowly coming out as we move up in the industry. And I taught at CalArts too, and I had Filipino students, and funnily enough, a lot of them are from San Diego too. What is up in San Diego? In animation. Oh, by the way, I grew up in San Diego too. I went to Montgomery High School, so shout out to the Essex. Represent. So yeah, it's like we're slowly getting there. So, but as you guys come up, like you should do the same. Like try to put it out there and keep striving.
Yeah. Funny, I remember when Jules and Mulan came out. I was watching it on VHS, and I saw the credits, and I was like, "Whoa!" Damn, I'm dating myself. I said VHS. And I saw the credits, and yeah, I saw Lea Salonga's name, and I was like, "Whoa, that's Filipino last name." And then, like, you know, you start seeing more and more of that. Like, I remember when I got into Avatar, Dante Basco, Prince Zuko. I was like, "Oh, this is great." Anyways, yeah, we're going on a tangent. I want to make sure that the audience has time to ask their questions too. Turning it now to Julius and Jeff. You've of course seen your fair share of the industry during your 30+ years as animators. I'm sure you've worked on countless projects over the years with multiple diverse groups of people. What qualities have you noticed in your newer colleagues that inspire you or that you admire and try to apply yourselves?
I mean, I guess I'm amazed by some of the artists that I meet, you know, that I've worked with. And, you know, it's like our industry's changed a lot, you know. Before it was just traditional paper, and, you know, and now it's working on this tablet, it's all digital, all this stuff, and we're even editing our storyboards, you know, and timing them and all that. But it is, which is a cool thing. But I'm still learning, you know, and when I see these other younger people doing their thing, I'm always asking questions. I'm always having to help me out, help this whole guy out, man, because I don't understand this tool. So definitely, like, technology is like, you know, I mean, I've learned a lot from like these kind of people.
What was the question? The quality of what was the learning for people?
Like, what qualities have you noticed in your newer colleagues that inspire you or that you admire?
I don't know, their energy, their love for, you know, because right now in Hollywood it's hard. Animation is getting sent overseas and things are getting cut back, budgets are getting slashed. So just to see somebody strive and try to get into the industry enough is making me excited. And I don't know, I like learning from them. Like, I always feel like you can learn, even if you're old like us. You can learn from people and use their their enthusiasm as to energize you to do more, do better. And yeah, it's just, yeah.
Woo! Having that growth mindset is really important, especially like as a creative, right? I mean, so many things. I mean, you touched on it, Jules, like with technology. Technology is rapidly advancing, and the tools and platforms that we have to be, the younger generation may be native to, that we might not be, like, you have to continually do that. And this is gonna go on forever. So like for those that are like looking into the creative field, like as you go on and technology advances, like you do have to kind of keep learning and growing. Now, I'm going to pivot the question real quick. With your long-standing experience, you two must have also dealt with your fair share of adversity. What are some moments of adversity you faced in your industry because of your identity and culture? And how did you overcome that adversity?
Okay, I guess I'll jump on this part. You know, being Filipino and brown in animation, there aren't too many of us. There are a few sprinkled throughout, just like seasoning. But you know, it's hard to be in there in the mix because it's just sad. There's mostly white people in charge. That's just what happens. It's Hollywood. But you know, it's hard to move your way up. And I'll tell this personal story. I was head of story in Frozen, and at one point, and I helped develop the whole thing. Like, we helped name the towns and characters. I helped create Olaf. I did the drawing over there. That's over there. And Olaf is made of hollow hollow. If you don't know, tell all your Filipino friends.
That's cool.
Since I helped create Olaf, he is hollow hollow. So yeah, I was head of story, and then I got taken off as head of story, and they put this other dude who's white. And I'm not saying it's about being white, but I'm just saying, like, and that happened on another film who a friend of mine was Filipino. Same thing on Big Hero 6. So it just happens, but what you have to do is you just have to keep going. They said, do you want to stay on the film, or it's okay if you want to leave? And I said, I want to stay, because I started the film and I want to finish it. And so I was head of story, and then I became a regular story artist. So it was like my whole world came crashing down, but I was still in the game, and I still finished it, and I still felt proud of what I did. And the soul of that movie, I felt like I helped contribute to. So I didn't like throw it away. I didn't go, oh, I'm going to DreamWorks, or I'm going to Warner Brothers. I stayed, and then in staying, I got to go on to Moana and work with Ron and John, who did The Little Mermaid and Hercules, which was my first movie that I worked on, and that was 20 years in between I worked with them. So it was good to stay on and suck it up and keep going, because working on Moana was a great experience. It was the closest thing to being Filipino, having a Filipino movie, because they were on the ocean and they were brown. And so I had a lot of fun on that too. So it's just like hanging in there and just doing your thing and just keep going. I don't know. It's hard, like when things happen to you, you gotta you can either leave or stay. So it's up to you. But whatever works best for you. This is politics. There's always politics involved. And I was just trying to be like Mr. Nice Guy, which is a Filipino trait, right? So yeah, that's it. Just survive.
Jeff did fine after Frozen. That bonus must have been really nice.
It was good, bro.
Well, I talk about my show, Firebloods. I guess that's part of the most adversity I've had, just because you're trying to be authentic, with the storytelling. Sometimes you get shot down, sometimes you have to sort of water it down because you're just telling a story. Even like some of the language, some of the Tagalog we're using for the show, kind of complicated. Even my showrunner was getting frustrated. It's like, because he couldn't understand it. And the actors, we had Dante Bosco too on our show. And so, even he was having trouble with some of the dialogue, he's Filipino. But it's interesting, you know, when you're trying to compromise with the showrunner, it's okay, you can either cut the line or just come up with something simpler. But you know, somehow we figure it out. I think one of the ones I remember the most is like, it's not even a Filipino word, it's the word ukulele. Because we had an episode with you know, it had the word ukulele, but then we had to go through, what do you call it, not the scratch, the people, the fact checkers, right?
Yeah.
We're saying, oh, it's not a ukulele, it's a ukulele, you know. And my boss couldn't comprehend that. It's like, no, I'm used to ukulele, that's what everyone hears. But, you know, we had to just kind of stick to ukulele. That's kind of tough with time. Well, you want to try to keep it authentic, right? But I guess what's familiar, what's mainstream, you know, sometimes we really need to over authenticity. And it's a battle, especially when you're dealing with a show that has cultural, you know, stuff in it. And, yeah, but that's probably the biggest adversity I've had, you know, my whole
No? Okay. All right.
So, and not just Jonathan, but you are someone who, like your peers, has had your amazing works presented at prestigious film festivals and celebrations of filmmaking. But how do you balance innovation and paying respect to the work already done by your industry veterans and predecessors?
I don't think any of my work specifically reflects honoring my predecessors, to be honest. But a lot of I did like, I guess my first time working on set was I was a director's assistant for a Filipino American director. He's a music video director and he's done like all these big music videos like from Macklemore, Shawn Mendes and all that. That was like my first time seeing a Filipino American be in control of just a big crew and also just being like the only person of color in like a white crew, because that's pretty much all of Hollywood is kind of like, that's what it is, from EPs to even like production assistants, just from everything. But seeing that was like my big wake-up call that to be a Filipino American director and work at that scale was possible. And I also just want to shout him out. His name is John Amasado. If you ever are familiar with his music videos, he's done everything for me and has like just done everything. But anyways, yeah, seeing that was like the biggest wake-up call that like, oh, it's possible for a Filipino American to be in control and just to make amazing work and at that level and that scale. But yeah, just seeing that, it just makes me motivated to just work harder and do all those things too. So yeah, that's what I would say is like, I guess how I honor my predecessors and the people who've come before me as Filipino Americans.
I kind of have answered this, but maybe it's not that. Anyways, I'm just gonna help. So I think just to answer it generally, to answer this like, to honor those who have come before us, it could even just be your kuya or your ate who's 5 to 10 years older than you. I think the best way to pay it forward is if they have taught you something, then for one, implement it and then do better. I'm ate to a lot of people, my blood, but also people in this audience, and I want them to do better than me. And I think that's how you pay it forward to those who come before you, is they give you, hey, I made these mistakes, don't make them. Or I want you to go faster than I did, so do that. My film, You and Me Will Back Then, it's actually set to AJ Raphael. When we say these juice box, you know, classic. I asked for this blessing, and I had no connection to AJ before this, but I made a video pitching it to him, I DM'd it to him, and I listened to him. He literally got back to me the same day. We jumped on a call, and now like someone who I looked up to from middle school like said yes, gave me his blessing. And I think that's also obviously like take a work that influenced me and means a lot to me. And obviously I remixed it. I took the song and did it from a queer woman's perspective. And that's kind of an example. I don't know where the mic went. Okay, hello. So yeah, those of you who have kuya ates or your mom, your dad, whoever, like, they're gonna give you advice, and I know you don't want to listen to them, but know that they are always looking out for you, and the best way to repay those, and like, not just like me from like an ate perspective, but those who have mentored me, I just want to make them proud, but obviously not in a way that I owe them, but like, they give me this advice, so I'm gonna take it and run with it.
Sound check. For people over in the corner, hey. Can you guys hear me? Good? Okay. Thank you guys for answering. Actually, didn't know how to answer it, but I think backing off what Marissa was saying about giving back, I think without it even having to be so deep, like everyone over here, you know, there are faces that I recognize, some really, really talented, dope artists that are here in this space right now. I think honoring your predecessors, you know, sometimes could look like being that person itself. Whereas for me, I feel like in my family, for sure, I'm one of the very few people who've relentlessly and actively sought out to pursue this professionally, and it's hard, you know, but I guess what I want to say is, I think if you choose to stay in the game, you know, like the other people that I've looked up to, like AJ Junius, who's sitting over here, amazing dancer, Afro-Filipina choreographer, like thinking about those who continue to stay where they're at and not giving up, you know, by choosing to stay in the game, down the line then you will also be that person that hopefully will make someone realize they didn't give up, you know, then maybe I can do it too. So.
Thank you. Wow. Yeah. Paying it forward, like, I love what you said about, like, sometimes it's just as simple as being that person. Yeah, it's so simple. Sometimes I think we forget that. So, thank you for that. As we wrap up this panel, we would like to end our time together with one final question for you all. Something for the audience to take away as they step out of this panel into their careers. Or just hobbies, you never know, right? With the current landscape of your industry, example, prevalence of social media, what's the word? I'm losing it. AI coming out as well, right? How would you tackle breaking in if you had to start today?
God, I hate AI. I have to say. It's like a weird fever dream. It's like the fun of creating stuff is actually doing it. So for me, AI just takes away the fun part of creating art. So like, who wants to see an AI dancer? Like, we want to see people dancing. We want to relate to people. But what would I say? I say, you know, if you love it so much, keep doing it. Like if you love it so intensely, there are other people that are going to answer that question for you. They're going to keep going, and you're going to give up. So you should just be about it, and like this, what we're doing now, reach out to people, talk to each other, stand on each other's shoulders, and get to where you need to go, because we're here to uplift each other. And so like, that's what you need to do. Just connect. And social media is good so that you can connect with each other, but meeting in person is better also. Like, shake hands, eat food together, you know, come on, do all that stuff. And so yeah, that's and after this, like, we should all talk to each other and get each other's socials, and then just contact each other. So yeah, that's it. Like, just go out and do it. Easy enough.
I echo the same with Jeff. really. It's all about connections. I try my best to answer like LinkedIn, people reach out to me on LinkedIn, and it doesn't come up a lot or anything because like if I'm in the mood to like answer it back, I'll answer it back. And most of the times I'll even like let's do a Zoom meeting, I'll chat, and see what you're looking for, what you want to do in business, especially in art business. Jeff and I are really good in the animation business. Yeah, it's all I do. What's the original question? Sorry.
I mean, whatever the answer is, great.
Okay.
With the current landscape of your industry, for example, the prevalence of social media, how would you tackle breaking in if you had to start today?
Boy, if I started today, I guess I would have my own YouTube. I don't know. I'm not really much of a personality, but I speak to my art, so I would probably draw more, just create more. That's what I love to do. Is what Jeff and I, all of us love to do is create and tell stories through our experiences. And so definitely, I would try to get as many followers as I can, but at the same time, you just want to just hone in your art and just do it well. And because social media now it's more open, you can see it. I would probably focus on that.
I guess I'll answer. It's funny because it feels like I just started, though I've been doing this for a while, and my relationship to GPT actually has gotten a little better, but in terms of actually I'm saying avoiding it, so altogether avoiding it, but I think like they've already talked about it, but I think definitely passion, the way that you show up in the room, the way that you introduce yourself to someone, obviously that's something that the AI can't do, is to really be able to receive like interpersonal experiences, because I think like even though we're all in different fields, at the end of the day, besides the skills, I think you're gonna want to hire someone or work with someone that you can be in the room with for 12, well hopefully no more than 12, but 8 to 12 hours where you might be super tired and super cranky, but who do you see yourself wanting to be in that room with? So I think it might still all go down to being a good person and being likable and just being a team player and also being resilient. So.
For me, my advice that I would give to if you want to break into the industry would be, if you're like into music videos or into films or commercials, I would look at all the credits, and I would, if you want a PA, I would go search up a production coordinator or the production supervisor or the assistant director and DM them, because that's literally what I did for my first ever jobs. I would cold DM people on Instagram and be like, hey, I just moved to LA, really want to work. And 95% of the time they don't respond, but then they will respond sometimes and it works. And like luckily my first ever DM got me a really cool job, and then from then it's just been like a roller coaster of just getting gig after gig. But I wouldn't underestimate the power of like social media and doing a DM, because that really helps, and that helped me in my case. So I would go, if you want to do like, if you want to work in art, then I would hit up the art department or just any of those things, because now people list all the credits, and I think that's like the most important thing to do to break in. And also just to keep on creating. I feel like we'll create something and then like be a perfectionist and get so attached to it that you don't want to drop it or anything. But I think you should just release it and then you just go on to the next thing. So yeah, those are my advice. I would say just keep on DMing, emailing, using the internet, and then just create a lot.
I'll continue off that thought. So yeah, continue to tell your story and voice what you want. I'm just going to speak from the perspective of a filmmaker. If you want to learn camera and you meet someone that does camera work, be like, hey, I'm interested, and be like, again, offer, hey, if you ever need help, I'm here, exchange contact. Keep telling your own story, because a lot of my close friends and community have found me because I have found the courage to tell my story as not just like a filmmaker like my films, but who I am as a person. And that's how you find your people, and people are very important, especially in film. Like, you can't make film for yourself. You could, but it's not as fun. Also, I want us to reframe breaking in and like more of it as like taking up space and even reclaiming space rather than you have to break something. Like, you're here and you're allowed to take space and tell your story and have your voice be heard and be seen. Last thing is to be in any type of creative industry, you have to have staying power, you have to have longevity. So that means Rohan, or y'all talked about earlier, it's okay if you have to get a job, a part-time job, a full-time job to save up so that you can eventually go freelance, or if you keep that job so you can make films on the side. It does not invalidate your title as an artist, filmmaker, whatever you want to identify as. We have to take care of ourselves. Creative energy takes a lot, so take care of yourself first. Stay in the game. A lot of people, and I'm sure any one of you who think about the people you look up to, the reason why they have done the great things, these two have done the great things that they've done, is because they have been in it for years and years and years, and they have not given up. So.
Q&A. We're about to open up for Q&A, so I wanted to see how everyone steps in.
Oh, we'll switch. I just started walking. Questions?
Hello. To my queer filmmakers, I wanted to ask about like the adversity that you faced, specifically with that thematic of LGBTQ, queer, and like what adversity did you face and how did you?
Hello, this is working. It's working. If I understood your question correctly, like how did I overcome creating it or telling the story?
It's up to your experience. I just wanted to know because I'm also queer, non-binary, and I feel like did you face any cultural, familial roadblocks? Yeah.
I feel like thankfully I moved on from, I guess, with my family, but I think when I heard your question, it more so was the storytelling aspect of it from I guess my own, from my own internal. And it feels like, I'll say yes. I think sometimes when I'm thinking about the intention of the stories that I'm wanting to tell, sometimes I have to ask myself, is this necessary? And if so, what are what's that word called? What could happen if I decide to, show this? Because in my current work that I'm working on, I feel like I'm still dabbling between do I go spicy? Is that necessary for the story? But me being a wholesome filmmaker, or just as a person in general, I think something like that might be. It's not definitely one of them, but I guess in the end, I think I would just go for whatever story calls for, whatever you want to do.
I think any adversity, of course, yes, the queer experience is a complicated one, In terms of making my art, I think probably the barrier is to allow yourself to create, because it is scary, right? It's scary to just exist as a queer person, but then to hey, I'm going to tell a story from this queer perspective, but it's to trust that again, once you tell your story, you're going to find people that resonate, and our stories need to be told. They need it, we need them. So it takes a lot of courage. Also knowing that I have relatives that support our president. That's tough. But they actually came to my film festival, and if anything, they're the people that need to watch the film that I made more than anyone. So it's tough. Keep going. I'm here. I support you, Rio.
I wanted to also comment, I'm not queer, by the way, but I do work with a queer writer, and it's interesting, when I was working with Firebuds, one of the characters that we had, that was really important to her, is that we had two moms. And to tell that story is really, it's difficult, because, obviously, you're telling a sort of family story. But the bottom line is that they're family, and we have to make that work, and it helps, obviously. It's Crystal on Zoom, by the way. I'll try to bring her in next year. Invite you to talk to her and answer all the questions you want. But because I directed, quite a bit of her episodes, that she wrote, and especially the mom characters, and what I would try to do is just make it just normalize them. They're just normal people, families, with kids that, they had adopted kid, right, in the story. So I have 2 kids, I have 2 teenagers, and so I would try to relate with that sort of family unit, with the story. So, yeah, it's a challenge, it's hard enough just to try to sell the pitch the idea, but we had a great showrunner that was willing to take that chance, and it's Disney, and obviously Disney, has become a lot more diverse, with the whole diversity behind me. And so, and it was important to us to tell that story, so, obviously we're all proud of it, and Crystal was obviously very proud of it. I was just doing my job, trying to tell a good, funny, heartwarming story.
There's also a lot of just queer film festivals to go to. There's Frameline, that one's in New York, but there's a lot of it in SoCal too. If you just search them up on Film Freeway, and you can search up queer film festivals, and you'll see all the queer spaces. And you can go to these festivals and literally just meet all these people, and it's a great way to just interact and find chosen family and all of that. So I think that's a great way to go to, because a lot of these film festivals also have grants and programs where they mentor filmmakers. So if that's something that interests you, I would also suggest just checking on Film Freeway and looking at all the film festivals that are catered to queer audiences.
Thank you so much.
5 minutes. Next question? Oh gosh, there are a lot. I'm going to try this side.
Here you go. This is just for everybody on the panel. What is something that you wish you did differently in your career path, or do you have any regrets in your career path?
Learn finances, personal finances and otherwise. I know, this economy. But that's important, especially if you're going to be an independent artist of any kind. As I said, it's okay to have a job. A lot of us over here, we work in audiovisual events production, but we still make films, so, money.
Save money.
Yeah.
The way the egg prices are going these days, I don't know. Nothing. When I was working in Sereno Valley doing educational software, and I decided I want to go into animation, so I went back to school. I had a job, and so this is the opposite of your question. For myself, I needed to do this for myself. So I wish that I had done it sooner, because then I would have been in the industry longer. But so just believe in yourself and take a chance on yourself sooner than later. I was 26 when I went to Cal Arts, and I could have been having fun sooner. So there you go. No.
I would say the same thing. I wish I just believed in myself sooner, because you just would have started working and making your art, and it's hard to make art as a person of color and to just feel intimidated by mainstream media. But I wish I would just tell myself to do it sooner, because I knew I was going to do it eventually. It just took a long time. But now I'm in it and full throttle, and I'm not going to stop. So that's what I would tell myself, is to just go in,
question. I saw her first. Awesome. By the way, I know we have time for one more question, but feel free if we didn't get to reach you for your questions. We're going to have time afterwards. You know, we find pockets of time to ask these wonderful panelists, you know, for their perspective. Also, social media is a thing. Follow them on socials. We should really like promote that more. But anyways, next question.
Hello. Hi, my name is Allison, and I have a question for Jeff and Julius. As veterans in the animation industry, I wanted to ask, how do you not lose yourself, or how do you not lose your identity as an artist as you continue to go on to other people's stories, their projects in different studios, all while knowing that in the end the animation industry is also a business?
We're all here just really just to survive, right? And we need to make money. So, you know, I mean, obviously a dream to work for Disney because, at least for me, you know, because I was a big Little Mermaid fan when it came out, you know, and I thought, oh, I'm going to animation, that's where I'm going to go, that's where I'm going to start my career. What's the question?
How do you not lose your identity working for?
I mean, we end up making like these sort of mainstream, you know, movies and stuff, and like, I mean, I know I'm Filipino, I know where I come from, but
Give me that microphone.
I have a thought, you know, I'm just trying to make sense of it. I don't know.
Yeah, you could hear about it. Okay. The answer is you totally lose your identity. No, I think, you know, when you're working on stuff, I think when you're at home, you could make your own things, and you should be doing, as an artist, you can't stop creating. So you should be doing stuff on the side, but for the day, during the day or whenever, you should be doing that to survive, like what Jules is saying. But always have something on the side, like doing art. Like I draw and stuff, and I post it on social media just for myself and not for any other reason. Like I'm not trying to get clicks, I just can't stop. So, and then sometimes I have friends who, and I should be doing this too, like creating children's books or creating characters that you could sell, and then you could leave Disney and create your own empire. So, like, always be doing something on the side for yourself, and don't always give it to the studio. You know, when we were working at Disney around the same, or whenever you sign something with Disney, it says they own everything in all perpetuity. So that means like forever till the end of the earth. Like, so they own, like I did, you know, designs on Moana and stuff, and they own it. I can't claim any ownership of that. So you just know that going in. So then when you, and then that also extended to working on stuff at home. That's what they claim, but they can't really say that because they don't know when you did it. So never put the date down when you're working at Disney. So just like always be creating stuff for yourself, and don't show it to everyone that you work with at work. Just keep it for yourself, and when you're ready to sell it or do something with it, make a book, whatever, then that's when you bring it out so that they can't claim ownership of it. So just like always be doing something for yourself. Don't just go, I'm just a Disney artist and I'm going to draw Little Mermaid forever and ever. Because I know animators like that who've done that, and that's our identity. But I don't feel like I'm going to keep drawing Olaf to make that, to capitalize on it. I draw it because it's easy for me, but and it's better. It's easier than drawing Maui because all the tattoos. So I just draw Olaf. But so don't ask me to draw Maui. But yeah, that's it. Just always be doing something for yourself. Don't give it to the corporations. Keep something for yourself. That's my.
We have a sort of mutual friend who says something to the effect of, you know, we're making art for a dead guy. Yeah, it's totally what Jeff is saying. You know, you do that stuff. You just basically, you know, create your art, do your thing, you know, and
I mean, you're working on a film. You did your own film outside of work.
I did. I mean, I made, we'll talk about this later, but I actually made a short live action film too. Because I wanted to do it. My dream before becoming the animator / story artist was I wanted to be Steven Spielberg. Because I watched Steven Spielberg movies. I was a big 80s person. So that's what fueled me to get into film / storytelling, So follow that, because it's good to have two paths. You have a job, that pays the bills, and then you have this awesome skill and focus on that, That's what kind of makes you motivated.
Can we take a moment? I know we didn't get to everyone's questions, so can we take a moment for the panelists to share their socials on Instagram or on TikTok or whatever the kids are on nowadays?
Cool. If you want to know more about my film, you can look me up on YouTube. I made a behind-the-scenes film. My name is Marissa, 2 S's, Rojas, R-O-X-A-S. If you want to follow me on Instagram, it's at RISSAMAYROX. Resume rocks. Yo.
I only have Instagram. My Instagram is Jonathan DG, but there's no A, so it's JONATHNEG.
Mine is Edrian Penguino, EDRIAN, Penguin. Oh, so I guess it makes me a Mexican penguin.
Mine's Art of Jewels. Jewel, J-U-L-E-S, not Jewels.
Mine's Jeff_Ranjo, R-A-N-J-O. And they'll probably post it on their Instagram page, right? All the links.
Absolutely.
Just go there. Click on the links.
Just in case.
All right, well, thank you to this wonderful panel. Doing their workshop.
He's going to be promoting his film.
Making a film. And it's basically Intermissions. My Instagram is Reese Curtis.
Okay.
So that's Reese, like Reese Curtis. And then my last name is Curtis.
Hello, y'all. Are y'all tired of sitting down? No, I'm just kidding. Yeah, so thank you again, Bridge the Gap, for having me, for asking me to teach a workshop. And this is actually only my second time doing it. And yeah, and it would be about my personal experience of how you can manifest your dreams through community and volunteering, and basically giving back. Let's see if... There, okay. So who is this person talking to me? My name is Adrian Pangilinan. I'm a Filipino-American filmmaker and dance artist. I was born in Mandaluyong, city in the Philippines, but then I grew up here in San Diego. I am basically based in LA now. Like Marissa Rojas, I'm one of the co-founders for the Philam Film Collective, where we really aim to amplify fellow Philam and AAPI voices into today's media. So like what I shared earlier, a lot of my works is really inspired by the stories that I want to tell through usually personal experience, and usually from wanting to bridge the gap from my own personal perspectives to the stories that I hadn't felt like were being told around the time that I started doing this. Oh, my bad. Sorry, hold on. Something like that. Okay. So just a little bit more about myself. I'm an INFJ. I love food, and I'm an old soul. So being forever a hopeless romantic, I recognize that I am very, very fortunate to have been able to kind of trail off to what we call as the typical path of Asian descent, and that my passion to tell stories, that I resonate with as a Filipino, queer, and brown person will always be what's going to drive me forward. And lastly, I do love listening to Christmas music all year long. So it's almost Pearl months, guys. It's almost August, or almost September. August, which is 1 month before September. So. I think for this section too, I think before we get to the main talking points, I do realize I think it's important for me to share about myself and kind of where I come from. So I started doing all of this basically the summers of 07 and 08 when I decided to just kind of randomly teach myself how to edit, because it was during the time where America's Next Top Model fantasy videos were being made about like who you'd want to be your favorite chosen models. So because of that, I decided to spend 2 summers to, from summer break in middle school to learn how to edit, and it was hard. Learning how to edit as a first time throughway to being a filmmaker, I'm actually surprised that I didn't run away altogether. So, go editors! What else? Yeah, I feel like growing up, basically being able to express myself as a person through singing when I was young, to art, to forever being stuck as the 3rd chair in the violin. Eventually making my way to dance and also film at the same time. I think about how during those times, I just really followed my bliss and allowed things to kind of lead me and connect me to, where I will go next. So. Okay. So the reason why I want to share this is because I want to make a point that dreams do come true. Being I would call myself a DIY, very scrappy, messy artist, but also just as a person who just likes to get things done. I made a film 2 years ago now, as of this date, called Ang Huling Sayaw, which actually translation is The Last Dance. But for this context, it's a delayed checkup because it is about a hotel hookup kind of story. So in the middle over there was our last filming day. I think we had 4 days of filming. The one on the top is me and my lead actor and one of my favorite collaborators, Earl Paulus. And then, that's just me with a poster. But so the log line is a middle-aged widower in a 30-something runaway secretly meet at a hotel one stormy night. The two bonded in a way they would have never expected. So the timeline of this production was from Feb 2023 to July 2023. I kind of like making things really fast. It's just kind of like the bunny in me, the rabbit. When like I get inspired, I go for it before I lose momentum. So I'm sure a lot of y'all can relate. Going for it before you lose the momentum. So like Marissa, I also had my world premiere at San Diego Filipino Cinema in 2023. I'm super grateful that my film had a total of, I believe, 10 festival runs and geography. I was able to travel to New York, Palm Springs, Las Vegas. It screened in Philadelphia, LA, here, and then also in the Philippines. Again, the reason why I wanted to share that was because being someone that just dreamed and just really wanted to do this, and I feel like this is one of my physical manifestations of how being stubborn enough and continuing to go for it can actually it can actually might take your places. Okay, So one more thing. Yeah, this, I was able to have my first media press, thankfully by GLAD, where they featured my film during the Queer Voices NYC Film Festival last September. Okay, so here is the 3 things that after thinking about it, these were the 3 things that I feel like I've learned throughout, though I feel like I'm still in my beginning years, like I'm still starting out young. But I feel like these are just some of the 3 things that I feel like I really wanted to highlight. So the first one is the importance and the power of realness and authenticity. And from kind of picking up from our panel and the one before, I feel like that's really one of the themes for the inaugural Creative Summit. Second, why volunteering actually changes lives and can and will help your career. And then lastly, how a community can come in clutch and help you achieve your dreams.
Oh, wait. I was writing notes. Let me
Oh,
take a picture.
my bad.
Sorry.
Yes, you're good. Yes.
Thank you.
Thank you. Okay, so I think, so the first slide, the video is played with no sound. It's okay, y'all. So, the importance of realness and authenticity. It's okay, so this video clip over here that was kind of played earlier is actually me behind the scenes of my 30th birthday concert that I did. And for context, I turned 30 in 2022, so that was still during the times where I felt like it still wasn't safe to bring people all together. So, yeah, decided to show up and share my life on YouTube after graduating college at 26. Let that sit, y'all. Let that sit. Yeah, I'm 33. no, but real talk though. So after graduating from college, I think like many of us have experienced, or you all have experienced, and will soon experience. What do you do with yourselves? Especially for me, I got my BFA in dance in 2017. I knew then and there that I was ready to pivot into something else, which was filmmaking. But during that transitional period, as one of the questions I was asked earlier too, about like how do you not lose yourself in the game called life. So I decided to finally go for one of my goals, which was to basically just tell my stories through the medium of YouTube. And my relationship with YouTube has been interesting, different pockets from when it started. When it started back in 2006 to now. I feel like by doing YouTube, by deciding to show up for myself in that way, though it wasn't perfect, I did feel like it helped me get here. Because the people that I've met, including Marissa, who's the one over there holding the camera, I've really been able to meet a lot of like-minded artists, a lot of hungry people who just wanted to do the same things that I was passionate about. What are your values, core and hardcore acts? So I think for that one, I really wanted to emphasize not just being yourself, but really highlighting what makes you you. And for me, thinking about what I wanted to talk about, since this is a Filipino-American Creative Summit, and today's the last day of API Heritage Month, now that I think about it, I've always been passionate about my Filipino-ness. And being an immigrant here and growing up, it's really been interesting to hear many different perspectives and points of views on their relationship to being Filipino. Some people, or actually for others, excuse me, it's not the greatest. You know, for others, it's lukewarm. But for people like myself, I'm really, really, really passionate about, you know, my heritage. And in many ways, I feel like that's actually what's going to help me kind of get my foot into the door somehow, nudging and trying to break into the door. And lastly, you know, like what I mentioned earlier about being that person that you want to be on set or on a job with for a long time, you know, by being yourself unapologetically, celebratory and through and through. And I think for that point, I just really wanted to emphasize, just be a good person, you know. You don't have to like everyone or be liked by everyone, truthfully, which is what I've learned throughout the way. But, you know, by being yourself and being willing to share yourself through the art that you make, it's important, you know. So, next slide. Okay, next. How volunteering gave me my film career and yours too. So first one, how showing up the journal can really help you across the board. So this is all thanks to my mentors from San Diego Filipino cinema, Emma Francisco and Benito Bautista. If you hadn't heard of them, they are the founders of San Diego Filipino cinema, who are also the founders of the San Diego Filipino Film Festival, which is the largest Filipino film festival in this country. So going back to how my Filipino-ness and in Tagalog we call it Becky, you know, like being very proud of being myself. They found Marissa and I through Marissa's vlog that she made too about how our first time checking out their Magic Hour event in 2019 really impacted their lives, and thanks to Marissa's vlog, you know, very heartfelt and emotional. We were invited to sit down with them. Excuse me. Let me slow down. We were invited to sit down and meet up with them, and I feel like the rest was history. Through my 5 years of being part of San Diego Filipino cinema, I was able to find my community and great friends through volunteering. So the reason why I wanted to share this too was because I think there's something very underrated about giving back and volunteering. I know a lot of times, you know, we want to get paid, and it is important that we get paid, you know, but I think allowing yourself to be in the space where you can be seen and meet people and allow yourselves to be seen for who you are as a person first, more than your title or your profession. Yeah, I think more than anything, I think that's what I'm gonna always champion is by kind of showing up and, you know, giving back. Okay. Lastly, why community will be and can be your greatest weapon. It's okay to actually ask for help and lean into the vulnerabilities and support of your loved ones. So as mentioned earlier too, Marissa, myself, and Trixie, we started the Philan Film Collective back in 2020, originally as a YouTube channel to create scene recreations, to practice our skills as filmmakers, starting off filmmakers back then. I'll continue. So, though it's been a while back, we've been a collective for over 5 years. I have to remember that this actually started off because of YouTube, by me being crazy enough to do YouTube, that I actually met Marissa and reconnected with Trixie, where all of us were able to align, and we were able to be like, let's do this. Yeah. also how turning your great sufferings, and weakness into power can help you. So I think around that time, I was really struggling with finding my community. After I graduated dance, I felt like I became isolated and really didn't know how to, belong in the world. And as we all know, being an artist already.
The midsection looks a little empty. Alright, here. Alright. Press play.
Oh, wait. Oh god. That's so sad.
We turn it up. iMovie.
Okay.
You see me?
This is my freedom kingdom. This is my freedom kingdom.
It's supposed to be louder, fuck off.
This kingdom, for I knew the definition of kingdom that I've known.
I didn't fucking know.
Thought it was a panel.
I thought it was a fucking panel.
But it's not. What the hell's the keynote? I have no clue. So I asked my BM ChatGPT. What the hell's the keynote? And then we buy the 1 hour speed.
Examine a community topic. Structured to keep your audience engaged. Deliver your core message effectively and leave a long-lasting impression, which can take weeks or even months to prep.
I'm not ready. This keynote, take your standards and lower them here we go.
This is March 22nd, 2007. Alright? I was like $2,800 in debt. Right? I had $187 left in cash. Okay? And I was riding my broke ass Honda Civic 89 CRX for all those 89 people out there, anyways, old. And I was right outside, I lived in a trailer at the time on the side of my parents' house. So I was sitting there and I was just debating whether or not to audition for, at the time, the greatest reality dance show ever. I was fucking scared. I was so scared. I was nervous, but I kind of had no other option. At this time, for those that remember TV, So You Think You Dance was like the viral thing at the time. It was the one and only platform, and the first platform, to ever be a dancer for yourself, as opposed to being someone's backup, right? So if you give that idea, that's like crazy, because every dancer in the US wanted this opportunity. So I said, fuck it, and I have nothing, so I just went. To give you more of an idea, when I auditioned, there was 4,800 people total at this LA audition, right? At 5 cities at that time, that's 22,500 people auditioning for this one spot. And to give you guys a little bit more broke-ass math, the goal is to make the top 10. If you can make the top 10, the cool thing about this is that you were promised to kind of go on tour, right? For like the next 3 to 4 months. So I went in there with hoping to eat, to be honest. I just wanted to eat food and not be broke anymore. So I was like, okay, if I can spend the next 6 months on top of per diem and getting paid, I can pay some shit off. And I can eat something other than 7-Eleven. 2 hot dogs for $2.22. Anybody? Guess not, you guys are rich, fuck off. So I went for it. And I think it was something around like, to make the top 10 out of 22,500 people, it was like 0.044 something percent. That's like crazy. That's like crazy. But luckily enough, I did everything with complete ignorance. I'd never danced any other styles. I'm a b-boy, everybody, so that's all I wanted to be growing up, was kind of make a living off of probably the worst job you can possibly ever have. But I just needed this opportunity, and I was like, I'm just gonna go for it. And fast forward, I ended up getting top 8 on the show, and later on becoming a judge on South Indian Dance. So that was pretty cool. Yeah, go ahead, yeah. It's hard for me to talk about myself because I don't do that often, but I'm gonna act like I do. So yeah, fuck yeah, I did that shit. You wish. Yeah, and I feel like, why are we here today, right? Some of you guys are here today, mostly because there's a vibration inside of your gut and your heart that got you excited about your craft. It's that same vibration that brought you here today, right? And there's also another vibration inside of our minds of thoughts, of history, of ideas that kind of start to clog the original vibration, that fire of why we even do what we do. My promise today is this. I'm not going to heal that at all. I'm not Tony Robbins, damn it. 4'5" compared to him. Anyways, yeah, I'm here to help you find and get connected back to what you already know. That's my whole goal today. So the purpose of today, that's a good face. Thank you, courtesy laughs, party for one. So this was on the email that I got hired for. It said, challenging the cultural norm that pursuing a career in the creative industry is impractical. It's pretty much word for word. We're gonna accomplish this, and my goal is to do it with 3 main points. The truth about risk, making failure your bitch, and spam in a can. I don't know what the fuck. I told you this is my first time ever doing a keynote, so fuck off. Yeah! So, let's do some more math real quick, okay? Let's first talk about the truth about risk. Here's some interesting facts that I went on ChatGPT and Google yesterday to figure some shit out. Interesting enough, 7.3% of all the US is populated by AAPI, okay? Gonna keep reading. There was this interesting article that was written by someone at USC, and they were just kind of like, they went through all the films, and they kind of highlighted like the guesstimate percentage of how many AAPIs were actually in, out of all the celebrities, right? High-end celebrities. 2 to 5% total, which I thought was interesting because that's like a 2.3 difference if you stick to the 5% of AAPI, according to the 7.3% overall. I felt like it should be probably similar, right? That's just initially what I thought. So I thought that was interesting. More math. Also, I failed school, so this is really funny. 5% of celebrities equal AAPI. That's interesting. It's actually 2 to 5. I just put 5% to give us a little bit more love. 15 to 20% of those AAPI in like high celebrity are Filipinos. That's kind of cool. We can give it up for that, right? So my own math, out of 100 celebrities, you got like one piece of lumpia just sitting right there, ready to do some cool shit. Maybe, actually, it's maybe, because it's 15 to 20%. And I thought a lot about risk, and I wanted to remake this question about the challenges of being a creative, making this a career, being impractical, because I think it's more about just the journey less taken. I don't think it's actually impractical. I think we're just not doing it. Let's be honest, everybody in here, you were kind of like naturally born with some awesome gifts. Filipinos can pick up gifts so quick. There's no stats on that. I just have a bunch of Filipino friends that can sing in key and that can dance like crazy and can do all this other cool shit. So I don't think it's necessarily not having the craft. I think we're just not going for it, right? Can we agree a little bit? I got math, I got data, bitches.
There you go.
I already said that. Okay. Do you guys know Neil Torres? Raise your hand. No? Okay. June Abueg. Of course you don't, because I went to middle school with them, and they don't fucking, why would you know them? When I wrote that down earlier, it went better in my head. I'll work on it. These two guys shared the same dream I did in high school. Neil Torres was like, God, if you're really old, if you know who Zach Morris is from Saved by the Bell, he was like that guy. He was gorgeous, good looking, and can kill and create choreo. Like before it was even viral. He was just a stud. June Abueg, also known as B-Boy Future, is perhaps the greatest B-Boy I've ever seen growing up. These two guys, similar to myself, had the same type of dream. And I'm gonna be honest, probably deserved it way more, and they can still get down today. And this isn't about them not pursuing it. They pursued other stuff that their hearts fully desired, so that's really cool. But again, everybody has the ability. It's just, do you want to show up to play ball? That's all it really is just showing up. That risk is so powerful. Yeah, so I truly believe that the ability to show up is more important than having the actual ability itself. Does that make sense? The ability to show up is more important than having the actual ability itself. If you could, which one would you have, right? Now imagine having both. Cue the music.
Yes.
I don't even fucking sing.
It's okay.
What if Bruno didn't act? No, I'm with the app, no Black Eyed Peas. I fucking fucked it up. Can I start over? I got nervous and insecure. What if Bruno didn't sing? There it is. No Apple D app, no Black Eyed Peas. What if Vanessa didn't act? Or Joe Coy chose not to make us laugh? It'd be the end for you and I. What if Olivia had no guts? No Jessica Sanchez, no runner-up. What if Brendan turned out to be straight? I'd still subscribe to him anyway. It'd be the end for you and I. Pose. Imagine a world with no Filipinos. Art and craft would not be the same. Sing it! Imagine a world with no Filipinos. Jabberwockies wouldn't show face. Second verse, bitches. What if Bella didn't talk? TikTok. No Lea Salonga, no Miss Saigon. Nicole Scherzinger didn't sing or dance, and Manny Pacquiao didn't have both hands. It would be the end for you and I. Pose. Imagine a world with no Filipinos. Art and craft would not be the same. Imagine a world with no Filipinos. a bunch of people I didn't list, like Patrick Starr, Big Girl Logistics, or the Big Back Kid from Spider-Man, I forgot his name. And I can't help imagine, like, we kill the game in entertainment. What would it be like if there was more of us, right? Like you, and not so much. What would it look like, guys? Imagine a world with more Filipinos. Art and craft would not be the same. It'd be better. Imagine a world with more Filipinos. It's up to you and I to make change. The end. That's how you burn 5 minutes. I love you too. 60 minutes is long. I was like, I gotta fill this bitch. I love this quote. It's a guru. His name is Sri Sri Ravi Shankar. He said, your ability to take risks is directly proportional to your success. Right? You've heard it before. Small risk, small reward. So just go for it. And that's the truth about risk. You just gotta show up. Because you know deep inside, you have it. And you often see people around you maybe go for it, it might work out, it might not. What if we just cleared our minds and followed that one vibration that made us feel real? You would take that risk. So I challenge you guys, let's all do it together, to take that risk. That is 1/3 of the presentation. Give me a round of applause. Okay. I was telling ChatGPT and like, how do I do this? And one of the things was like, crowd participation. Why don't we take risk? Someone's about to die over there. You okay? You're just laughing hard? Yeah. Thank you for the subscription. I appreciate it. And I monetize it. Why don't we take this risk? Anybody? I was supposed to do this for 5 minutes and we just did it in 1 second. Let's rewind it. We didn't hear that. Shh. Why don't? Let's raise our hands. Literal things. Go ahead. Ooh. I like that we're going straight to the point. Yeah, insecurity. Is there a specific one for you? You just filming? What the? Okay, insecurity. Is there anything else? That is very true, yeah.
Imposter syndrome.
Dude, that's huge, right? Imposter syndrome. Am I actually the person? Or am I just a karaoke? Like everything else, right? Huge.
Fear of failure.
That's the second part of my presentation. What are you freaking... Shut up. You didn't hear that. She said something stupid. In the back.
Responsibilities.
Fear of responsibilities. Oh, that's like laziness. I was like, I don't really... That's like my dad when he left at birth. He was like, responsibility. It's a different keynote. It's a different keynote. Yeah, responsibilities. The fear of taking the lead, right? Kind of like that. Okay.
Risk of being perceived and the rejection behind that.
Whoa, interesting. The risk of how you're perceived. Not necessarily what that means, but just the idea that other people are watching and what they might think of you, right? It's interesting, similar to your question earlier in the first panel. I love that. Anybody else? Go ahead.
Fear of success.
Ooh, that's crazy. What if the shit works out? Oh, fuck, I don't want that pressure. Look what happened to Justin Bieber. What? I don't know. I don't know. Do you guys know something I don't? I just said it. But yeah, shit's going down. Yeah, okay. Straight up. That's a crazy one. I've definitely faced that many times. Like, what happens if it does work out? I don't want those responsibilities. Anybody else? Yeah.
Filipino parents judging the hell out of you.
Does that still happen? Kind of? Does that still happen?
Yes.
Yes, fuck.
Very much so.
That's real. That's part 3 of the presentation. There's some good bits in there. I wrote some good shit, but whether or not I remember it, who knows? Yeah. Parents, similar to others' perspective, especially the ones we love. That one's tough. It could be parents, best friends, siblings, your twin, the person in the mirror. Anybody else? I need captions. Say it again. In fear that you should be doing what you think you should be doing?
In terms of not fear, it's like you're just doing it just because everyone else is doing it.
Ooh, following the trend and just going? That's kind of cool. If I fell into a crap, I kind of did that too though. But I can see the fears behind that. Anybody else? Last one. Last two.
Following the safe route, or what is told to be the safe route.
Yeah.
Societal expectations regarding that.
Especially when we're surrounded by it, she's saying following the, like, basically the normal type of route. Especially when we're all around it, right? That's a great one.
Perfectionism.
That one's crazy. It's better if you just suck and then you have nothing to lose. You're like, oh, fuck, I'm imperfect as fuck. But yeah, you know, I worked with logistics for a long time, and that was a big one. I feel like as you even get better too, I battled a lot of that. Yeah, you got another one?
Separating from the pack. Fear of separating.
Fear of separating from the pack. Ooh, that's good. That's a good one. Your day oneers, you don't want to leave them. Your family, you don't want to leave it. Yeah, last one.
Comparison, not succeeding, like the people you are inspired by.
Ooh. Yeah, something to compare your path to, right? It could be inspiring or also, I don't know if this is a word, de-inspiring. It's not a word.
Just make it.
Is it? Yeah, it's de-inspiring. Uninspired. It's not, shit that doesn't inspire me. Okay, so yeah, exactly. Great job. See you later. That's it. Okay, so I believe there's only two fears. There's only two. Everything you just said, anything you could possibly think of, the root comes from only two of these fears. Remind you, we're going over these fears to really accomplish what is this risk and why we should take it, right? I believe if you can really let this sink in and you're trying to make drastic change in your habits and you want to move forward like you've never done before, understand these two things. These two fears, the root of everything we just said, is either the fear of being alone or the fear of failure. Someone said it over here. Anything you list. I care about what others think of me. It's kind of both, the fear of failure, but you don't want to be alone because then they won't be with you, right? So it kind of goes in both. What was another one? Family, rejection, failure. Also, you don't want to be alone. It kind of goes back to that, right? So listen, is there another fear? What was another one I missed? There was a bunch of them. Success. What if it does work out, which is like the opposite of failure, and then if it does work out, you're isolated by yourself, right? You just don't want to be alone. If you had other people with success around you, you wouldn't feel as bad. Okay, another one? You kind of get the idea, right? Okay, so those are the two. Does everybody understand that? It'll root down to the fear of being alone or the fear of failure. The first one, fear of being alone. Close your eyes. Stop looking at me. Close your eyes! Like you're praying to the oh holy Lord, or like you meditate and like, hum. Okay. This is the only proof that the fear of being alone exists, except for the other 65 people that look also stupid with their eyes closed right now. Does that make sense? It takes two to make one person. This is the most alone you can get, and there's others in this room that also have their eyes closed. So open your eyes. Does it really exist? Does the fear of being alone actually exist? There's 8 billion people on here. Does it actually exist? Even if you're by yourself and you're depressed, there's other people in the world that are also depressed, right? So there's no such thing as actually being alone. That fear is completely gone. The fear of failure, a little bit different story. Where would I ever go with this? Oh, what's up? Day one, I started dancing. It was February 18th, 1999. Fuck off, guys. Most of you guys weren't even alive. You're like, I was semen. It was February 18th, 1999, and I was at the prestigious middle school of Antelope Crossing. And this is the day we celebrated our Valentine's Day dance. 4 days later, because it was in midweek, and so we did it on a Friday. And the girl was at this dance. She was so bomb. Her name was Holly Lackey. Holly Lackey. Another Saved by the Bell reference that no one gets, the Kelly Kapowski. Think of that girl right now or that guy, it's that one, and the whole school knows it, right? Okay, so I really want to impress her. And at this time of era, like, jocks were in. Like, that was like sports, like football, basketball, not being Filipino was the thing, right? Kind of real. And I was like, okay, I gotta do something different. I'm gonna show off by dancing. The shitty part is I've never danced before at this point in time. But I was like, all right, I gotta go figure some shit out. So I was like, I'm gonna go rehearse. And the only place I could think of at the time to rehearse was the boys' bathroom. So I was like, all right, fuck it. I'm gonna go practice, get this shit in, and figure some shit out. And I'm gonna come up, and then I'm gonna freaking destroy this circle, and she's gonna fall in love with me, right? So I go to the boys' bathroom, and I go in the stall. I lock it by myself. And the only thing I kind of know of, we don't have internet, so like the only thing I can kind of think of is like, oh, if I do this chair freeze. If you know what a chair freeze is in breaking, it's when you have like your elbow stabbed into your side, your other hand's holding you up, right? And your face is kind of like on the ground, and your feet are up, right? So I was like, all right, fuck it. So I kind of just went down to my knees in this boy's bathroom, little stink, but I freaking want this girl so bad. And no joke, like it was like my first time ever trying this chair freeze. And I put my first hand down, put my left hand down, just bare ass face, fucking dirt, just straight up dirt, but I didn't care. I wanted love. Yes. Right? So I'm not lying. A minute and a half, my feet was up, and I was killing the game so hard that the stall next to me, I remember it was like white K-Swisses. They was doing their thing, and then they like left, and then like new K-Swisses came in. It was the shoe. So that's how long I held this bitch. And I was like, oh my God, this is easy as shit. So I was like, all right, my rehearsal's up. Ready to go show Holly Lackey what time it is, right? So I go out of the boys' stall. I'll wipe my face a little bit. Then I go to the circle where the dance is at. She's right there. And there's all these other dudes trying stuff. They're just clapping because it's like, oh, it's funny and cute. So the last guy goes, and I go in the middle of this circle, and I again, it's my first time. You know that little dance thing that B-boys do before they go down? It's day one. So I was like, I just did but I was confident. They don't know what this is. No one has the internet. So I was just like, ugh. And I just did this like thing, and like my homies was getting hyped. I was getting hyped, and I literally dropped down, like just skipped everything else, and went down to my knees. And I put my right hand in my right side. Boom. Get the left side. Right when my feet come up, this bitch slips right away. So I'm on my face, right? And my feet come up, but the bitch slips, right? But then I accidentally went into like a reverse worm. Do you know what that is? You know what it is? Like a worm, like when someone kicks their feet and they're like waiting on the ground and it's like that. But I did that shit reverse, backwards. So I was like, ooh. And I slid down my stomach. And then I was like, oh, I'm gonna try the actual worm because I got momentum, right? So I go back and I kick my feet hella high. I've never tried this move. I've only seen it in real life and my dreams. And then I literally went and I started kicking, and the first one killed the game. And I'm like literally doing it. And I knew it was right because by the second one, I heard people going, ooh! They were like, oh! It's a mixture of like dope, like CrossFit, also mostly laughs. But anyway, so I'm going, on the second one, it's even higher, right? So I did the first one, second one, I was like, watch this third one though. Went too high. I swear I kicked the ceiling. Came back down, and my tooth goes right into the fucking ground, right? Where you're like, right? And it's like, you know like when you get like punched in the face or something happens around here, you start crying a little bit. So I broke my shit, boom. But everybody's like still like, ooh, ooh, ooh. It's a little dark, it's like, right? So I was like, okay, I'm gonna play this off. So I get up, half crying, half trying to perform, like I just did some shit. So I remember it was like right? Now when I got up, everybody was lit up. They were lit up. It felt like how I felt, right? But they don't know about this thing that just happened, right? So I was like, and I was like, oh, they lit up. So I was like, if they're lit up, Holly Lackey must be lit up. So I took this motherfucker 360 degrees to figure out where the fuck she's at, right? So I crossed my And I was like, and I go around, and there she was, making out with her fucking boyfriend, Brandon Belvey. Now, motherfucker, fuck that guy! Long story long, a gratuitous amount of failures led up to an Emmy Award and the love of my life. Definitely no doubt. It was the beginning of infinite failures, and I truly believe failures are kind of just like evidence that you're getting closer. They're so much fun. So that was the day that I made failure my bitch. Round of applause. And I'm gonna one up you. That's just a funny way of saying it. If you can embrace failure, if you can look at it as an opportunity in a relationship and actually fall in love with it, have compassion for it, and trust that it's gonna help you, because it does. It helps you so much. I promise you're gonna get to your destinations faster than you ever thought. Growing up, I heard this a lot around me. Ignorance is bliss, D-Trix. Ignorance is bliss. And I truly believe that's awesome because I love ignorance. It helped me put myself in these situations. So now I just practice being ignorant because then it just leaves you being, well, yeah. Oh shit! Paul, stretch your phalanges and your coccyx. That's your ass phone. Okay. So we went over risk, and we went over why we don't do that and the failures that it has in making that impactful and actually a tool. And there's two ways to also make that change. The second way I'm going to share later about how to get used to these failures. If you're not quite used to it yet, because it gets to be scary, but I'll give you an actual technique that really helped me out. And the other technique I actually praise a lot. It's scary to take risks, especially if you're aware of it. So if you have the ability to live in the now, if you have the ability to completely be free of everything you know, those times when you were young on the basketball court or on the playground and you were just having a blast, where time kind of stood still and you remember every detail about it, that feeling of the now where all thought is completely gone, that's a superpower. If you don't know what that is or what it might look like, I brought Concept, one of the greatest freestylers that I personally know, and we just have this thing in freestyling where if you just tap in, which is completely just drop into the now. Would you guys like to experience that? All right. Coming out of Sacramento, California, and the table left of me, my good buddy, Concept. Let's go, Paul. Let's go. we're so good at being people's hype man, huh? Even if it's not for ourselves. That was a sick transition. Come on.
Come on.
Real quick, I gotta go back. Can we give it up for Paul? Filipinos are the ultimate hype man, even if it's not for themselves. I feel like this is so big. We're still on Big Filler, you're a bitch. All right. Hey, again. There it is. No, the speaker shit, I'm biting it. Okay. Bruno Mars, before he even blew up, wrote 16 #1 hits for other people, right? 16. Before he took that risk in 2010 and decided to start writing for his own voice and started to experiment with who he was. And I looked yesterday, and his Spotify amount is well over 25 billion listens. We all know who Bruno Mars is, right? Imagine if he always was someone else's hype man. Imagine if he didn't take that risk to start writing for himself. Would we get to have the same experience today in general? I don't know. This is new information for me, and I'm gonna mess this up. Do you guys know the first time that Filipinos ever stepped foot on American soil? Does anybody know without looking at this motherfucking screen? This is crazy to me. I've completely just learned this. They were called the Luzones Indios. Luzones Indios. For now, I'm gonna call them the Filipino dudes, okay? It was October 15th, 1587. 33 years before the first pilgrim landed on Plymouth Rock. It was in Morro Bay, California, which is crazy. Now, the Spaniards got hired from the Portuguese to bring stuff over here and try and find a way to create a relationship with the indigenous back then in order to start making trade. So they hired the Spaniards. The Spaniards felt, why don't we hire these Filipino dudes? Because one, they're amazing sailors. They are literally some of the greatest warriors. And these motherfuckers kind of look like these indigenous motherfuckers. And maybe we can connect that way. Did you guys know this? Okay. It's a beautiful story. So the Spaniards come to California, the Bay, and they send out our people first. They land in Morro Bay, and right away, the indigenous loved us. Completely just fell in love with us. For 3 days, they built this chemistry, this love, without even actual words. Obviously, because very, very similar type of people. On day 3, the Spaniards decided to start transitioning over to join their newfound homies and their old school homies. And in that first day, tension grew so fast that 2 arrows were shot from natives, and one of them entered a Luzones Indios. And that relationship was completely gone. Done. Settled right back. And I can't help but think and imagine, what if the Filipinos decided to stop being their hype man and just decided to be their best self? And it's kind of fucked up, but in my mind, I was like, if I was the indigenous or the Filipino dudes, I was like, as soon as the Spaniards started causing beef, I'd probably be like, I don't know those motherfuckers. It's kind of jacked up, but they just messed shit up. Imagine if they decided right then and there to just be and do what's right and to be who they are. Maybe United States of America would be different. 33 years before Pilgrims landed. The United Spam of America. That joke hit hard yesterday when I wrote it down. I gained some weight since I've been doing AK. It's been a while. Spam. Crazy story, right? That's true. I told it differently, but that's 100% true. That's not the example. They didn't have cameras back then. That's me. And that's my mom. This was like a scary day. I was a year and a half into college. At this point in time, dance was kind of secondary. And I constantly ditched class with my boy, actually, Brad Allen. Brad Allen was one of my best friends, but he was like the jock. And he, oddly enough, just hear me out, he started playing golf like the week before because he wanted me to like help him, like teach him whatever. He fucking sucks at golf. And he's white. That's all you need to know. We were best friends, and we skipped class, and we went to Jack in the Box. 2 tacos for $1. Fucking today is so different. Anyways, ADD. And he had asked me, yo, Dom, if you can do anything else besides go to school, what would it be? And I was like, probably a professional dancer. At this time, I'd already traveled like worldwide here and there behind my parents' back, from the west coast of California all the way to even like Korea. And like I had like battled, but they thought I was going to school the entire time. Okay, so I kind of knew like, yeah, that's what I want. I want to dance full time. I was like, how about you, Brad? And he was like, I'd probably be a professional golfer. We both just started laughing, right? He was laughing because he was like, could you imagine if we quit school and did what we dreamed? I was laughing because I was like, I just saw you play golf last week and you fucking suck. I know that because I'm fucking taught you and I suck. So we were laughing anyways. And I decided to make the decision to tell my parents what I want to do, what I'm going to do with my life. Now I was still living at my house at the time, and I knew that if I told them I was going to have to face a lot of things that I was afraid of, I would have to move out on the side into this trailer. I would have to pay for all my own stuff. I would have to pay for my own food. And I told them exactly what I wanted to do. And it's crazy because I was not scared at all. I'll be honest, it's because I knew who I was and I knew what I wanted. There was no YouTube, there was not even shows yet. I just knew that shit was fun. Yeah, most b-boys don't make money, but I just had a blast dancing with my friends, and I sucked when it comes to school because it just wasn't there. It wasn't 100%, but with dance, it was something powerful. From that, my career that you've seen has pretty much blossomed, similar to like what I said earlier. And believe it or not, Brad Allen turned into a PGA pro. Isn't that crazy? He quit, and he went 4 years to PGA school. They had PGA school, and he became a tour pro. Can we give it up for Brad Allen? Yeah. I like how his applause wasn't as loud as mine. Growing up, I had 6 other siblings, and it was so scary to try and be me as opposed to the idea that they created for me. Does that make sense? We've all faced this. We've all kind of mentioned it. But I was just striking out. It didn't feel right. It didn't feel like I was, yeah. And at this point I was like, if I'm gonna fail, I might as well fail big. And it's so impactful, and I bring up the idea of a Filipino being someone's hype man. Because I truly believe that Filipinos are 100% givers. I've never met a more giving type of people. So if we're gonna give to our parents, if we're gonna give to our family members and our best friends, shouldn't we try and give big? Shouldn't we look at 8 billion people as our family? If we're gonna give, shouldn't we give big? And in doing that, you're forced to find that you're gonna have to be selfish in order to be selfless. Everything that goes on inside of you, the thing that constantly just rattles that inside of what you want to do, the shit that kind of makes you fucking scared, or the things you need to enhance in your craft or your business or whatever the case may be, the things you know what I'm talking about, that always stays in there. When you're busy doing that, nothing else exists. This life, this one life that we have, is so freaking rare. And so if we're gonna live it, we might as well live it big. We might as well live it big. Under your chair is a gift from me to you, hopefully. Also on the ground is a can of Spam. Please grab it.
opening? Oh, wait.
Did you find one? All right, now everybody got their Sharpies? It's another mission. Did you guys get a Sharpie? Did they get Sharpies? Should be in your bag. It's bad when you can taste that his breath is bad. You should have one can of Spam and one Sharpie. We all got that? Raise your hand if you got it. Raise your Sharpie and or your can. Extra credit, I see you.
Thank you.
Do it back there. Okay. Can you imagine it turns into this? If you believe in Jesus. This whole thing. Okay, Mormons, I know we got it hard, but. Okay. Fun other fact, thank you ChatGPT. Spam can last inside of a can for up to 2 to 3 years before that shit's bonkers. Most of us say, fuck it, at 5 years and still eat the shit because it tastes good. So, 2 to 3 years. We have all been inside of our bodies our whole lives. Do you like where this is headed? So, I don't know where you're at in your creative career. I don't even know if you're actually here for that, or maybe you've already pursued it, which is freaking awesome. But even for me, there's so much that I have to overcome. One more rip, go ahead. Go ahead, keep ripping. No, you're good, you're good.
I'm okay, take your time, do what you need.
Okay. 2 to 3 years that this meat can last inside this can. Our souls have been inside our bodies our entire lives. What I want to do today, no matter where you're at in your career, in your journey, I want to make a promise all together. And in this promise, we're going to write the following on this can of Spam. Okay? It's probably like 2 sentences, so be aware of that font size. Okay? And if you're like me, be aware of spellings. Okay. In the left-hand corner at the top, I want you to write your name and a comma right after it. Go ahead. Some of y'all motherfuckers still killing off tape. It's okay. Right below that, I want you to write, "Let me out and get to cooking." Let me out and get to cooking. Under that, you guys write it? If this might be corny, but just do it for me. It's really fun. Sign your name right under that. Sign that motherfucker. You good? Yeah, I got you. Your name, comma, let me out and get to cooking. If you want to add a motherfucker in there, that's kind of fine. You're millennial-ish, or you can just write get to cooking. And then sign your name. When you sign your name, this is a promise. The second skill here, in order to change, in order to take those spheres inside of our brain and change the paradigm of our brain into other beliefs. Do you guys understand what I'm saying? Are we all on the same page here? For those, I think all of us, that feel like we're not giving 100% of everything we can do to fulfill the dreams that we want, this is for those people. It takes 45 days to retrain a habit, for your brain to get used to new beliefs, to erase old ones. And I fully believe that there is a vibration inside of bliss and freedom that if you continue to follow that, it's endless. There is no thought. You just kind of become. It's infinite. It's to the point where what you desire doesn't even matter because you're so busy being who you are that it's just completely blissful. tomorrow starts 45 days. And by signing that, even though I already asked you to sign it, we're going to promise ourselves, most importantly, and each other, that we're going to make habitual change for the next 45 days to commit to being the person that you are supposed to be, that only you know, that only you understand. Something unspoken. And you get to work. You know what it is you're supposed to do. We all know what it is we're supposed to do. We're all here for a reason. And I promise you, in 45 days, if you just commit to what that is, I promise massive habitual change. And everything you ever thought of that you wanted, it just naturally starts coming. And it's really fun. Can we make that promise together? San Diego? Raise your can of Spam. And repeat after me. Dear baby Jesus. I. Insert name.
Insert name.
Don't do that. That's boomer. I know who you are. I promise.
I promise.
For the next 45 days.
For the next 45 days.
To let this meat out.
To let this meat out.
And get to fucking cooking.
And get to fucking cooking.
Thank you so much.
Thank you so much.
Okay. I got paid to be here for an hour. I might have not was supposed to say that, but I did. Most of it went to your spam, to be completely honest. Shit was expensive. Any extra cans, I'm taking that shit. I'm hungry. Not that you haven't, but is there any questions that I can maybe help you remember the answer to? Yeah.
What's the next food challenge video?
What's a food challenge without any? Oh my God, you are a subscriber. I don't know, but I'm starting YouTube back in December full time. I've been choreographing like a lot. I've been working massive on craft, like music, bullshit, and comedy for like the last 6 years. Writing like crazy and currently eating like crazy. Which is ironic because when I did the food challenges, I was 60 pounds less, and then I quit doing them, and then any other questions? Yeah.
How do you deal with burnout, and how do you like power through, or like what mindset do you have to like power through?
How do I deal with burnout? Okay. For me, the only time I experienced burnout is when I was busy trying to make stuff that other people wanted as opposed to what goes on inside. Right? I'm tired. What do they want? I'm tired. What do they want? When you're busy in the state of play, we all chose a career of play. When you're busy in the state of play, there's no such thing. So, I would get back to the log line of my life and figure out why I'm doing what I'm doing. And every Filipino knows it's to give. So then burnout disappears. Ideas turn to come. Next question? Yeah. Those are nice heels. Steve Madden?
Whatever the craft is, if it's acting, singing, dancing, whatnot, what would you suggest the first move would be when you feel like you don't have a support system among your friends or your family? You're trying to put stuff out there, but you know, as much as people say you can do it and they picture you doing this and this, your friends aren't sharing your content, or your family's not showing support of it and whatnot. What would you suggest the first move is?
I would close my eyes and lower the brain hurts in myself from beta to delta, which is really slow. Some people call it weed. I call it meditation. And you close your eyes and you shut off everything that you think you know, and then you're going to have your answer, especially when your brain is moving like a baby. Another way of saying that is getting back to the core of that day one of why youth started, which is very similar to the same feeling of closing your eyes and meditating. You know that vibration, you know that feeling like right when you wake up, there's a shit ton of ideas, right? It's because your brain is in a delta state. There's 5 different states of your brain of hertz, and it's very calm. Oftentimes when we try to think of ideas or how to be better, we force it. It's called beta. It's where everybody that's usually after the age of 13, they're in a beta state. We're trying to problem solve and look outward to figure out what actually goes inward. So that vibration you feel when you first wake up, it's the same vibration. If you smoke out there, it's the same one that you get. That's why there's infinite ideas. All you're doing is really technically channeling from the outside universe to receive that information. So I know it's crazy, but I would say meditate and or a simplified version, get back to why you even started and forget everything you know. Kind of? Okay. Next one? Yeah.
It's my brother.
Is it? The guy with Pokemon cards.
I was going to talk to spam for you, so my name is Panelist, and good to meet you. It's more of a personal question for you, but what was it like making videos with Ryan Higa, and how was it on the set for YouTube Rewind?
Okay. Ryan Higa fans?
Yeah.
Man, what was it like working with him? We fucked around so much. We literally like playing with your best friend, and it was so initial when we first met. We met, he came to like a Quest Crew performance, and we talked for a second. He asked for me to hang out and stay the night at his house. I had no idea who this guy was, but I was like, oh, I could probably find him online somewhere if he does weird shit. And we had a blast. We just started playing, and he helped me understand that choreography and creating conceptually is the same in comedy. And so he introduced me and all my high school friends to a life-changing experience on YouTube, and yeah, it was freaking awesome. I mean, you've seen this stuff, right? You can watch it and you feel like you're hanging out with him, so it felt the same for me. Yeah. And thank you for the spam.
Some more questions?
All right. Go ahead.
Oh,
wait for the mic.
Oh. This is like off topic, but how long did it take you to learn how to head spin? Because I'm trying to learn right now.
Yeah. Yeah, really?
Yeah.
Pretty quickly.
No.
Maybe like 1 week to do just like stop and goes, 2 months to have like every version. At the time, it was 1999, so by 2000, the Guinness Book of World Record was like 29 no-handed head spins. And I'm proud that I did 32 in my garage. If you do it every day for like 8 hours, you'll have it in less than a month or 2. It's pretty quick. Yeah. It's just repetition, obsession. Holly Lackey. Holly Lackey. All right, last question. Yes. The guru himself.
D-Trix. Personally, I in my 30 years of being in the dance world, I truly feel like you're one of the most talented, versatile, creative, and also a good human at the same time. So my question for you is, can you name one creative that inspires you? And can you also name one person that inspires you as a good human?
As a what's the last part?
Good human.
Oh, you just set yourself up hard enough. And that's your answer? Growing up, I had massive inspirations, like whoever I was around. I grew up in Sacramento, California. At the time, no one knew who Jabberwockies was, but those were my first teachers. I got really lucky. My first crew was a bunch of creatives from all these different aspects of life. They were my huge inspirations. Ryan Higa then became my huge inspiration. And over time, it just, over my entire journey, it became you. Every single one of you guys. And every living thing that comes across my path, now, before, after. As far as humans, besides you, can we give a round of applause for Arnell? I was talking earlier about meditation. So I grew up like dreaming and playing in my dreams, and I started creating my dreams very early. Like that was like, I would always wake up in the middle of my dream and just start creating. And so I always created there. And then as I got older, I started like learning more about myself, and I started like meditating, doing my own stuff. And I have like a dope ass guru dude that helps me understand what's going on inside of me. His name is Ravi Shankar. Yeah, his whole goal in life, which he's been doing for 68 years, is basically to figure out how to put a smile on every human being's face. And so I would say Guru Dev Ravi Shankar and Arnett. Yeah. All right. Before we leave here today, if you see any extra cans of Spam, I'm not joking. Them shits was like $250, which the receipt said $243, so I'm gonna need some of my money back. $6 goes a long way today. Thank you again, everybody, and congratulations on everything you're gonna do. And I love you all.
Thank you, everybody. Can you guys hear me okay? Yeah. Well, I just wanted to get some gratitude out of the way before we let you guys go. So I wanted to give a first thank you to the MCs, Juju and Arnold over there. You guided us through today with energy, heart, and authenticity. You kept the flow alive and brought a unique edge of expertise to the panels. Your presence made everyone feel welcome, seen, and excited to be here. You guys are truly the voice of the event, and we appreciate you more than words can say. So everyone, please give it up one last time for the thank Danny, our DJ, for volunteering your time and talent to make this space feel lively. I wanted to give a thank you to our committee for the Creative Summit on Bridge the Gap. So we have 7 from finance over there. He's not here because he's based in OC, but Justin from Cultural Relations for coming up with the panel questions. And then we have Jordan from Admin Ops who came up with the contracts for the speakers, and TJ from Graphics and Marketing that helped put all of the graphics and Instagram posts together. So thank you to all of them. From the bottom of my heart, I wanted to thank Alexis, our lead coordinator. A big thank you. This is the only thing Lex, we have some flowers for you over there because I had such high expectations for you when you were first put in charge of Creative Summit, and you still have somehow successfully surpassed them. And I hope you enjoyed the day and are proud no matter what. We are definitely proud of you. Aesthetic and ran so smoothly. So everyone thank Alexis if you see her before you leave. Thank you. And then last but certainly not least, to every single Creative Summit attendee in this room, thank you. Thank you for showing up not just physically, but emotionally, culturally, and creatively. Whether you're a dancer, filmmaker, designer, poet, or just exploring your artistry, your being here matters. You're proof that the Filipino creative voice is alive, powerful, and growing stronger every day. This summit was for you, and as much as we hope to inspire you, you inspired us. My word of advice to you is not to let this feeling dissipate as soon as you're home. Connect with someone in this room, take your favorite piece of advice from today, write it down, and keep it in a visible place. Continue to invest and believe in yourself and support other community orgs and events like these. Your support means so much to us as we're navigating our first years of the organization, and I can't thank you enough. Clap. Contribution allows us to be able to host more events like these and build community little by little. You can find signs around the venue with our Venmo charity QR code, where 100% of the donations go back to our mission. We appreciate any and all donations, and we thank you again for coming to the Creative Summit! We have the space until 7 p.m., so feel free to mingle. Cujo and Inay Herbs and Cafe Luna are still open, so if you're not hungry, I know I kind of am, please take Baon home and support our local small businesses. And last but not least, get out your raffle tickets for the last 3 prizes!
Oh, no
Going
freaking anxiety.
once.
No, you're
No,
lying.
going twice. Oh, wait. Imagine.
Oh, I'm still looking for mine.
Yeah.
Ready?
Oh, wait. One,
Just kidding.
one, seven.
Found it? Yeah, it actually fell. Wasn't it?
Okay, next is 1169. 1169. This is the hardest one, it's the last one of the event. Oh my gosh, it's the same one, 1169. Okay, look at this one. 1168. Yay! Congratulations. The second to last one is going to be a one-on-one with none other but D-Trix for 1 hour. Okay. The number is 1163. 1163.
Hey.
Oh! Wow! Congratulations! And we saved the best for last. The live drawing of Ola holding Hello Hello. Alright. Who wants this one? Who wants it? Wait. I mean, it's only fair. 1163. Wait, isn't that you? Hey! Wait, no? No, oh. I pulled it again.
Yeah, she pulled it again.
Did you buy more than one?
Oh. Did you?
Okay.
Oh.
Sorry, guys. Ignore that. Okay. Why is this so hard? This shouldn't be hard. Okay. 1209. 1209. No.
Can't follow.
No.
Honestly? Maybe?
Okay. This one looks pretty unique. 1217.
Oh my. One digit off, man. Thank you. Thank you too.
And have a great rest of your night. Thank you.
Yeah, you're one off.
I was just one off.
Okay.